Welcome to the Dev and Gamer podcast with K Mega 405, the Don KTR.
I think that makes it official. We're live.
I think that does make it official. What's happening? What's happening, everybody? We are live. Let me go ahead and get my mic up here closer to my face. Yeah, let's go. Boom. All right, let's go. I should have done that while we was doing all that. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? The Dev and the Gamer has returned. Little hiatus. So Don went ahead and had to take a vacation.
Yeah.
Ride on the eagle with cheese to go find his favorite delicacy, Cambodian yak milk.
I did go to Yosemite. I did
Nice.
check that out. It was my grandpa's backyard, so it'd be kind of dumb not to be 10 minutes away and not go check it out.
Right.
So-
Right. So was that Cambodian yak milk as pleasant as it's always been, or is a little different?
It goes down smooth, man. Go down smooth. But there is a higher tax because it's in California, so that's usually how that goes.
Yeah. Well, yaks are usually somewhere else. So yeah, a yak in California that would be
Yeah, that's definitely a delicacy for sure.
Yes.
I will tell you this though, Yosemite reminds me of Halo Infinite.
Here we go.
No, it just looks like it. I mean,
Oh, okay.
the granite rocks, the way the trees are, the dirt, like it literally looks like they built the whole entire game off assets from Yosemite. Is how it feels.
Oh, yeah. I thought the messy was already starting.
No, it ain't no messy. I mean, I've pretty much said all my
negative.
negative stuff I've said about it. It's done and over with. So, like the game, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, and a little bit of that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. All right. Well, other than that, man, what you been playing?
I've been playing. What is it? The Punk of Cyber. Just got to the point.
77.
Yeah.
02?
Yeah, something like that. And then playing. I just got to the point where you got Johnny Silverpalms, and so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I didn't know if I would like the game or not, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit actually. So
I have to start paying attention to when I say, man, this game is fire. You got to give it a shot.
Well,
man.
I was going to, but I had a plan. The plan was, I want the next gen patch. Right. And it's because the game's not optimized yet. They're kind of known for that, like optimization, something that comes down the road with them. And so I just want them to take advantage of the features that are there. And even if I bought it on PC, like the game's going to run better with that patch, right? So I end up getting it on the Series X, and sales price was there as well. So kind of a win-win sort of thing. And I didn't have to deal with any of the bugs and issues. You don't know how blown out that stuff is. Like, some people will overblow it out and have high expectations that can't be met, and then some stuff is just a mess, right? So I didn't have any negative experience like that. So for me, I'm just playing the game and enjoying it to what it's intended to be. So which is awesome. So.
Oh yeah, excellent. What's up, Handy? How you doing? Welcome. I should have tried to post this out a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it is what it is. We'll let it ride. But yeah, no. As for me, surprisingly, I mean, you know this, but surprisingly for anybody else who hasn't lived under a rock, because I've been posting a lot, I am playing the absolute hell out of Elden Ring.
Oh, really?
I believe it. Man, like I detest Soul games. Like I said, I've liked Bloodborne, but didn't finish it. I like Sekiro. Didn't get to finish that, but that was I was a game share with a friend that passed away. So, and then once its account went away, then that went.
Then that save file. Well, you have the save file, but you don't have the game at that point.
He don't have Xbox Live anymore. So I mean, it cut off. So I said I was going to go back and I was going to buy that game so I could play it and finish it. But of course, I was like, there's other stuff there. But this game is different. I don't know. And you know how I am about open world games. I love them. And so I thought that I could just go into this because people talk me into getting it. And so I was like, all right, I'll give it 4 days. Now it's been 2 weeks, and I can't tell you how amazed I am by this game. Like,
You
I mean,
can't quit it.
I can't quit it. Yeah, I'm locked in.
All right, that's good. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
I'm right there at 100 hours, or I'm a little bit over 100 hours at this point. But I mean, but I've still got plenty to do. And then looking at the difference between uh how big this open world is, because I've heard reviewers that say this is the biggest open world ever, and I'm like, hi, have you played Odyssey? Now, Odyssey, if you look at it from the outside, from above ground, no, that game is not anywhere near to Odyssey. But there's a whole underground section, and I don't know how big it is. If it's as big as the entire map, then this might be pressing right there on Odyssey, or maybe a little shade bigger. But that, I don't know how big the underground labyrinths are.
It's hard because like modern day reviewers, like for us, like we're older, right? So when a modern day reviewer, gets hyperbolic for any reason at all, right? Either excitement or disgust or whatever their motivation is, right? It's hard to take them seriously. It just like I kind of get in that old man state, like, man, you haven't played crap. Like, it's kind of like when people say Souls games are hard. Yeah, they're hard, but I mean, I played harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but they act like it's the hardest games ever made, and I'm like, more recent, yeah. I mean, yeah, but not older stuff. Hell no, not even close. Marble Madness is harder than that shit. So, I mean. So it is a weird thing when you see reviewers now. It's like, man, credibility is something has to be earned, and they just don't got it yet. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and see, this is the thing to me is where, because I mean, when I first started playing, the first 20, 25 hours, most beautiful open world game I've ever seen. And I'm like, what? Like, I mean, 25 hours in, and I'm looking at this world, and yes, it's got some stunning things within it so far. From at that point when I was playing, I was like, okay, but have these people played any of the latest Assassin's Creed
it's
games?
Good, but it's not it's not a pinnacle type product, you know what I mean? So in that aspect, I mean, overall the product is obviously engaging, people are talking about it, but people get all crazy and out of proportion of
like that, they just kind of throw it in. But I will have to say that there are some places that I've gotten to between that 25 hours to now 100, where it's just like, oh wow, that's beautiful. That's some beautiful scenery right there. So yeah, it's got a place. So I mean, I might as well ask this question because I don't want to make it to an Elden Ring love fest, but I want to just kind of touch on the whole. People are already crowning this as the game of the year, even though this is still the beginning of the year. Forbidden West dropped. It's kind of sad because Forbidden West looks absolutely stunning.
I think Forbidden West I have more interest in that game than I do in Elden Ring.
Elden Ring?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, that's just me personally, but
right.
But you're saying game of the year accolades already is what what you're hearing?
Yeah, already people like anything else after this is nothing. And listen, I understand. It overshadowed Horizon Forbidden West, which is kind of that's sad because there was another game that did the same thing, and I cannot remember what that game was. I think it might have been Red Dead, maybe. Red Dead.
Yeah, they've had a bad launch window with it's not a bad product, but a bad launch window that's kind of affected them to some degree.
Right.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I can't remember. No, I wasn't Red Dead because God of War and Red Dead I think came out the same year. So it was another game, but I can't remember what game that was.
Well, I think the internet brings people try to get attention even when they're not even thinking they're trying to get attention. Does that make sense? And you add the excitement of you actually enjoying a game, and then being the thing you're involved with right now. I think it's real easy to get sucked in and say game of the year sort of thing, but I don't think that's a wise position to take.
No.
I don't think it's a wise position at all to take. A lot of times games at this time get forgotten about by the end of the year, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like when you see the nominees, you're like, oh yeah, that game came out. I forgot about that. I haven't played it in
Right.
8 months, right? What and I think game of the year, if you're talking about like Jeff Keighley's sort of thing, the Game Awards, I honestly
Yeah,
think
VGAs.
yeah, VGAs, I honestly think you can predict that stuff pretty easily just by review numbers, right? So like what drives a lot of nominees is that segment of the industry, which is the reviewers essentially for mainstream media, and basically there's whatever they're into, whatever drives traffic for them. It's usually the combination of both being a game they like and what makes them popular on the internet, right? Those are the things that will drive their nominees. In regards to it has sometimes it has nothing to do with the merits of the game. Sometimes, right? Or the merits of the game are overblown in a lot of ways. So, what was the Metacritic score on the game? It was pretty high, right?
They gave it there was 10s, 97, I believe that it
97
was.
is the
It was
overall. Yeah, so there's
97 to a
yeah,
97, 98.
there's a good. It'd definitely be in the nominees. There's no doubt about that, right? Because
Right.
if the general gaming review audience has that opinion of it, then they have that opinion of it, and it's going to get the nominee just by default from that perspective alone. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about that. If people say that this is a contender, I absolutely agree. I think it will. The one thing that makes it a contender, not only just because it's a really good game, it's the fact that there's people like me who weren't a fan of the Souls games that now From Software has a fan of Elden Ring. So like if they dropped Dark Souls 4 or whatever that they call the next Dark Souls, I'm not buying it. But if you do an Elden Ring 2, I'm all over it. Day one buy. So it's not, so to me, it's kind of like I'm not fully there, but I do see that this game definitely it perked a lot of interest, and there's a lot of people that's playing it now, not only because of the hype, but just because it seems to be much more approachable than the previous games are, or maybe the other games were somewhat approachable, but I just couldn't get into it at that time. I'm just leaving those games alone.
Well, I don't think you're
Like.
alone. I think a lot of people that written off their style of games have given this a shot, and then it's got the hooks, right? It's a more sticky type game where it's drawing more people to stick around, and that's to be commended in regards. I don't think they're reinventing anything. It's not like when people say like they set the standard for RPGs and all these other hyperbolic things. That's the part I think does the game disservice, right? Like when you oversell a product and then it's not what you say it is, then you set this weird expectation that maybe affect people's experience in a negative way. But in the game itself, from everything I'm hearing from people that really enjoy that type of game, they're loving it, and people that normally don't enjoy their games in the past are loving it. And so I look at it as something that's not reinventing anything. It's not breaking new ground. It's not doing any of those things, but it's taking the formula which the studio FromSoft, I believe, right?
Yeah, FromSoftware.
From Software. It's taking the formula that they have seen success with, and they refined it to a point where it's just polished, and that sometimes that's what it is to make a game, right? Like some difference between an amazing game in people's eyes to something that's kind of forgotten about is that polish. And so they innovated each thing. They stuck to the formula, but they improved it each time. And and what's impressive to me, from the outside looking in, it's not a game that I'm interested in, but the part that I'm impressed with is they did something that's unusual in the game industry, which is something that all publishers strive for, but just don't ever hit the mark. If you kind of get where I'm going with this, is they were true to their hardcore fans, but didn't forget about them while including new players.
Yes.
And that
Yes,
is
you're absolutely right.
extremely difficult. And if anything should be praised from FromSoft, where that is such a rarity, such an odd thing to be able to accomplish, it should be commended, and that's something that it should not be overlooked. We can talk about the graphics, we can talk about the sound, the open world aspect, all these different things, but somehow they're able to keep that same DNA, not pissing any of their core fans and bringing more fans. That's impressive.
Right.
So
yeah, that's really impressive. No, and that's it right there. I mean, you just nailed it. Is they've redefined it. It's like, nothing is is overwhelmingly different, because I'm sure any person that's been a Souls fan, because there's people that already says this is Souls 4, they just made it open world. So
yeah,
so that, like you said, but they refined it. They just gave a little bit of opening to get people like me to get into it, and not, and the people that, because there are parts that you definitely got to do within the game that you go and you fight a certain type of bosses and you get your ass handed to you. And that is, and most, and I can't say most people, but there's a lot of people out there that just don't want to tolerate that. But there's some people that are persistent. They just wanted to have an opening to just give a little time to breathe. And this game does that. So with that being said, you're absolutely right. But there's other contenders out there as well that
we don't know the contenders.
Well, Breath of the Wild 2 is definitely going to be a contender.
I'm sure it'll be in the nominees. I'm sure it'll be in the nominees. But what I'm saying is,
that's going to be a contender. Yeah,
we don't know. I mean, we don't even know 2/3 of the games are coming out this year.
No, you're right. You're right.
And so that's why I say it's a naive position to take, right? Regardless if you love the game or not, right?
Right.
You know what's ironic? Halo Infinite's going to be part of that next year.
Because of the,
because they didn't hit the mark for last year, right? I mean, even though it released last year, but they didn't hit the mark for the Game Awards, so it could possibly included on this year's roster coming around. So yeah. So I mean, what are your contenders? Horizon Zero West right now, Halo,
Forbidden West,
and Elden Ring. That's really about it right now.
Well, no, there'll be more. But
that's what I'm saying. There's only 3 right now that you can even think about.
I don't even know if Halo will get in that contention, just because of the fact. I mean,
well, we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into all that.
That's a good segue. We'll get right into that here. But Starfield, I don't know anything about Starfield, but they talk about that like this is the next best thing since Wonder Bread, and I don't know. I need to see more of this game. I mean, I'm hearing all the insiders, and then you look into places where you look, and then you hear people that you trust that tells you this game is going to be the game. I got to see something with my eyes before I can even give it.
Starfield suffers from the Cyberpunk thing, right? Like,
yes,
because CD Projekt Red has a reputation, and they have some beloved games, right? So their next thing that's a radical step away, but still CD Projekt Red, was Cyberpunk. That's what Starfield is, right? It's basically the studio has the pedigree, has the history, and it has a fan base that loves their products, but is it going to be the product of everyone's saying, who knows, and is it going to land kind of rough? Because their games, even with Microsoft behind them, their games have a history of being a little rough around the edges, and the question is, do they have that goodwill that will carry them over where other studios it doesn't, or not? Like it.
Well, I think they have the goodwill, but I think
there's this there's a formula between how much of your product is not polished and not working right to the goodwill, and every company it's that's why you can't do the keep the same energy thing, because everyone has a different standard based on how much goodwill they give a company, right? So, I don't know. As I said, Bethesda style games now owned by Microsoft Game Studios. Some of their stuff I love. Some of the stuff, not so much, right? So they're kind of hit and miss with me. All the machine game stuff. That stuff is phenomenal. I'm looking more forward to that than I am whatever the new space adventure is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, so
I gotta see more about it. I know that they're gonna show something soon, but I gotta see something more than just the clip that you showed. I don't want to be one of those people that talk about something, and I know deep down that it's not that I'm still have doubts about what this game is. So I'll talk about it, but I won't talk about it in
well,
the
they don't have the same
grandeur of
goodwill.
things.
But
Right.
that's the thing. It's like, you know, if you really get down to it, they don't have the same goodwill with you as they do, say, with another gamer, right? That may be
Right.
talking this up, right? So there's a
Well,
lot of that going on too.
true, but this is the thing too. Like, okay, they did the same thing. Like everybody was talking about how special Elden Ring was, and I was like, I was, it's a Souls game. I'm happy for the people who are happy for it, but it's just not going to be my type of game. And
Yeah.
I knew that game would been a contender regardless because there's so many. The game sells well. The game is, it's well liked, right? And then of course, like you said, that bar because the game had some hitches when the game first launched. But regardless of that, um, but now I've got to experience what other Soul players have experienced, and now I'm like, okay, I get it,
You're in
now.
the fold, basically.
I'm in the fold.
Yeah,
But
I gotcha.
so, and they talk about Starfield the same way, and that is why I'm like, okay, I'm putting it up in this category, but until I see more, I can't really talk about that. It is, from my perspective, going to be a contender. Now I know Breath of the Wild 2 will definitely be because it won Game of the Year, so
Oh,
it
that's
beat
The
out
Legend of Zelda.
that was the game that beat out Horizon Zero Dawn. So that was the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zelda. And then from what we've seen with Forspoken, listen, some people can say what they want to. I mean, but for what they showed at place on the state of play today, Forspoken looks absolutely phenomenal.
It's funny. It's funny we're talking about Forspoken right now, right? But
yeah,
the earlier showings of it, I'm like, this is weird. Now she's in a dream world. Then she's in the real world. I'm like, I kind of brushed it off. But the showing that they have when they focused on the fantasy portion only,
yes,
it drew me in. I'm like, oh yeah, this is that Forspoken game. Like, so I'm curious now. Like, I'm at a point where I'm like, is it any good? Is it not? But the action looks fire. You know what I mean?
It looks really good.
Looks really good. I'm really interested to see how that one shapes up. So and that's a good example of sometimes, I don't know. I think showing games too early is just stupid. At this point, I'm losing patience with it. Right. Like, part of it's because I work in the industry, right? So that's part of my shortcomings. But we just want to see what the game's going to look like without cutscene, without like CG scenes. You spend this much money on a console as a gamer, you just want to see what the game's going to. What are you going to be playing? What are you going to be enjoying? In regards to, and of course, you're going to cherry pick the best moments to show off your product. But I want a realistic expectation of the final product, right? And that means holding out until you're closer to the mark. Set a realistic expectation, and I don't think information is as sticky as it once was, right? Like where like you and I would see a game and then it'd get delayed a year and a half or 2 years back in our childhood. Well, there wasn't as many games being released on the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo or anything like that. So you waited with bated breath for that game. Does that make sense? You got excited about it. That I don't think that market even works. Like, because when someone else can say hold off, right, and releases a killer like showcase of a game, and you can play it 3 months from now, right? Like that kind of overshadows somebody showing something off that far in advance, right? Like, like we can talk about, like, for example, Hellblade. Game looks phenomenal, but I'm not thinking about it right now.
No,
it doesn't mean it's a good. I mean, I think it's going to be a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not thinking about it right now. That and that's kind of the issue. Like, they didn't really need to show something that far out early. I mean, it's used as a showcase of just what the console's going to be able to do. in
Right.
regards to them. So I mean, that's just a good example of I'm just tired of things being showed out so early, and I've always been a big advocate of this. Like, finally, just show things closer to the mark
Yeah.
where they're finally being released. There's so much product out there. I mean, there's no reason why you can't do that these days. So and be successful.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of games. I mean, it's absolutely right. Now, I would say 6 to 7 months. If you wanted to show it within that year,
That year, that's
okay,
fine. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's perfect. But 2 3 years out, like you tend to forget about it, and the people still talk about it, and they talk about it, and they talk about it, and then when the game comes, it never seems to ever meet their expectations because they heighten it to a level. Yeah, they got these people's purchase, but there's been so much hype developed around this game is that once people get a hold of it, it's like, oh, same like what happened with Cyberpunk. I mean, because of the glitches and the problems. If they just went ahead and showed the game within that year, and then people got a hold of it, to be like, oh, well, this game is broken out, or maybe they would have had a better chance to say, well, this game still isn't where it needs to be. Let's go ahead and let this game
Let's say
sit in the oven a little bit longer.
well,
And people, I think, would be a little bit more
let's expand what you're
accepting of
just
that.
saying there, right? So
Yeah.
let's say you show it 6 months out, and people's reaction is like, ugh, right? And you're like, you know what? We're going to delay it. You don't
Mhm.
have this built up for multiple years about something that people are excited about, right? And you're afforded that time, be able to
Right.
extend it, right? You're able to be flexible in the market where you can compete with the other products that are out there, and really you're competing with other products, in really the gamer's time. It really
Mhm.
what it comes right down to it, right? Because we talk about this. There's a lot of games. There's more games I would like to play than I have time for, right? So I
Right.
have to start prioritizing at how much time I have to play some of these games I'm interested in.
And the
Uh,
fact that gamers are bigger than they've ever been.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's that never-ending content sort of loop, right? So
Right.
that's part of the draw. So yeah, I mean the industry just needs to reevaluate how we show the products when they're ready to show. In regards to that, I mean, like you can take all God of War. I'll use God of War for example, right?
Mhm.
People always get in this weird frame of mind when they say the games don't get a downgrade. All games that are shown out that far get a downgrade, right? And what I mean by that is you scale the assets you have to optimize for the hardware you have. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? There's always
Yeah.
something unperceived when you're that far out. And there's things that did change in God of War. I didn't say they changed in a bad way. They changed in probably for the better, if that makes any sense, right? And
Mhm.
it's a balancing thing that's part of the development, part of the pipeline of making a game. So I think you just take that part of the conversation of downgrades and those other weird things that people say out of the conversation, and it could be more about the content of what the product is, and more constructive, productive conversations being built around your game, I think is important. So
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. But let's go ahead and talk about Halo, since we were getting started to go there. Now, we've had a conversation. We've had multiple conversations. It's
behind the
I
scenes on
behind the scenes, and
podcast,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I do remember that we was having a discussion about this update that was supposed to be coming up, season 2 that was supposed to be coming out here by now or sometime this month. And you brought up to me that, look, man, I don't think the co-op is going to come. And I was like, wait, hold on, no, that just can't be. No,
Yeah.
hold on. And I'm just like, and we also had the discussion between where I was saying, look, I think people will give Halo, well, I don't think, but I still feel that people will give Halo a different look or a different vibe because of the fact that it's a free to play game compared to Battlefield, which is not, or Battlefield 2042. And I'm like, if they delay this again, then they're going to get a lot more criticism. And sure enough, it's really been surprising because I haven't seen a ton of criticism.
I'm
I
seeing a
think,
lot.
are you seeing a lot?
I'm
I
seeing a
haven't
lot,
seen a
but
ton.
it's hard to see if it's like my bubble you know, like
right.
when because you always like, hey, I look at this one thing and then it sends you down this negative rabbit hole of, you know, people that are in that. So I try to be very cautious when I see negative things and when I see overly positive things. I try to be very level-headed and you know,
right.
I try to put the equal amount of time looking at positive and negative, and then draw my own conclusions from that. But yeah, I've seen a lot of negative stuff in regards to that. Like a lot of the esport players are speaking up.
Oh, no, I did see.
Yeah,
I've seen that one of the esports players say something,
and they're not being unreasonable either, right? Like, you know, like there's people that like say stuff that sometimes you're just like, oh, come on, now you're just looking for attention. That they're just like, well, I'm invested all this time into this game and I have nothing else to do. Does that make sense? This is my living, right? Like, you know, it's a different type of living than everyone else, but you know, they start looking at it from their perspective of, if this is losing interest, I need to start playing other games. Does that make sense? I need to invest my time doing other things other than playing Halo. And that hurt Halo 5. Same thing came up with them, and they're behind the ball as far as releasing content in comparison to Halo 5 in the same time frame. So they have some challenges, but go ahead and cover all the challenges that. Well, where are you at? I guess maybe let me ask you that, because
that's the question. Yes, because I mean, you know more about the challenges and I'd rather hear about those eternal challenges more than just me ranting about something. But yeah, no, I'm at the place where I think I told you, like, look, if they come out and they do the same thing by basically, then I'm going to be pissed, and I am. I'm not happy with that situation. The one thing that I said that lets them get away with it is because of the fact that it's a free to play. But if you say that you have a deadline for something, then that deadline needs to be met. And if it can't, then you shouldn't come out and announce these things, because that's what gets you in the most trouble amongst the public. And you have people that will be toxic and say things. And I'm not one of those people that's going to rant and talk bad about, because they're another human being, and they're doing their job and they're working hard and all that. But
there's the product and then the people behind it, right? Like
right.
And sometimes you have to separate the two, right? Like sometimes you have to be criticize product but not the people, I guess is the thing, because that's what their managers for.
Right. That's just the whole the thing of it is, it's like, look, I get it. There's always going to be setbacks at some point or some level, and of course, gamers are very passionate. And if there's something that they want and they don't get it right then and there, then of course, then it's going to cause problems. But this is the thing, right? Like, I'm not going after the developers by saying that they're this and that, like some people do. I'm just saying, stop giving us these falsehoods if you don't know if you don't know for certain that it's not going to happen. That's what you need to do.
So you're saying manage your product better?
Manage your product better.
Or customer expectation, releasing it.
You can't keep coming out saying that this is what's going to happen, and then you look 6 months down the road, and then you give some kind of ridiculous little video or statement. Well, we're trying to. You know what? Look, you shouldn't even said it if you weren't 100% sure if you can deliver. If you can deliver 100% sure, say it. But if you can't, just be honest with the public that you're not ready yet. Yes, there will be the naysayers. There's always going to be naysayers. If Halo Infinite came out totally complete with co-op and everything, I guarantee you there will still be naysayers. Forget about those people. Those people they're not interested in your game anyway. But the people who care about your game and love the product, just be upfront and say you're just not ready for it. I get the fact that because people said the things about the pandemic, and I know that makes you roll your eyes, but obviously we've seen a lot of games here in the last year and a half that just wasn't ready. And it's so that
amateurs.
Okay. And so,
I mean 3 months, that's way too overblown. I mean, like a month and a half.
I got you.
Month and a half delay. That's reasonable. But
I got you. But this is the thing to me though, is that people are forgiving about certain things. Like
Yeah.
every time that I see a delay, most of the time people are like, "Hey man, take your time, do what you got to do, whatever." There's always going to be those occasional people that's going to be side, talk crazy. But
Yeah.
this right here though is this is the problem, and this is why 343 gets the scrutiny that they get. And then I can't be a defender as much as I love 343. I can't defend this. You can't do this. You have to be better at your messaging. And it's not Phil's fault. It's the people who feel, I guess, hired to be in charge to not have this all put up together, to come and to just let the gamers know exactly where you're at. And if you had to tell gamers, and I understand it would have been an uproar, that we need another year and we could drop Halo Infinite at 2022, at the end of 2022, yes, it would have been a whole year of just backlog of just trouble. Horizon, I'm going to say Horizon Forbidden West, but Forza Horizon 5 could have carried you on until the end of the year.
Would have sucked.
Period.
It would have sucked,
Huh?
but it would have sucked. But
It would have sucked, but
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5 was such a smash hit. It would have carried Xbox to the end of the year, and then people would have been started to get, and then the Stalker thing would have sucked, and then there would have been the whole Xbox has no game stuff again. But then you say, oh my God, Starfield, Halo, Forza Motorsport,
Well, and then
whatever else is coming out.
Then you run into the weirdness too, as well of
right.
It just sounds weird to say this. Xbox didn't need Halo to sell Xboxes this year.
Right.
They had a shortage. Yeah. Everyone had a shortage. Same thing with PlayStation 5, right? They had a shortage. And so, I feel like Halo is a byproduct of several different things, right? So internally, you have competing interests between, Microsoft being the money man, right? Somebody in management trying to recuperate costs because they have spent a lot of money on Halo. There's a lot of promises internally, not even to the consumers, but internally to rebuild the engine, and why they're rebuilding the engine, and they're able to do exactly what they're preaching, which is games as a service, which they're failing to do right now, because you can't have games as a service if you don't provide service. And then you have so many moving parts to a game that has a established expectation, right? Its predecessors have an established expectation. I think a lot of core Halo players don't even look at Halo as Halo Infinite as a free to play game, even though it is, right? Like they don't. It doesn't even register in their head. It's just like, why isn't this game I've been passionately waiting for and talking about, not ready? Because they don't know, because they're not behind the scenes. They're not working within the studios. They don't see the struggles, behind the scenes and all that sort of stuff. And that, even myself that knows better, like even I only hear little whispers of behind the scenes, and I can only draw my own conclusions from, kind of from an intellectual standpoint. But still, I'm still guessing at certain percentage of that, right? So I mean, Halo suffers from that, and then you say new players that are kind of new to Halo are like, oh man, Halo's pretty cool. People are digging, and so they had so much hype and so much excitement going into releasing Halo, right? I think they lost a lot of that initial goodwill that people may not come back. Some will, obviously. Halo will still be, I think, profitable down the road. I don't have any doubts about that, right? But it's not as profitable as it could have been if they just waited, in my view. I think we're not going to get content complete on this game until Season 3 hits.
That right there is where the problem lies. And
I'll take it a step further. No. I don't even think Season 3 will be content complete in the sense of like, okay, that's when I expect maybe Forge to be ready, co-op to be ready, the features that were promised, but I still don't think you're going to have as many skins, as many Spartans to choose from, all that sort of stuff by then.
No. I mean, because I think that they're going to continually keep working on that, like they did with Master Chief Collection. The
Yeah, they
problem is
will.
though.
I'm just saying. I
Yeah,
just don't
yeah,
think they'll have all of it by then.
yeah. No.
Or if
I
they
don't
do
think so
have
either
it,
by that
if
time.
they do have it, it's
But
behind the scenes, and they refuse to release it, which
well,
is
then
the other part of it, which is a little
well,
frustrating.
yeah. Well, then when did they say season 3 was going to drop?
Season 3 is going to be closer to season 2. So
Okay, so
these are going to be
sometime
more.
this year, right?
Yeah, see, these are going to be more intermittent. So
Okay.
so like, from what I understand, we were supposed to get season 3 sometime in February. I mean, season 2. I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. Season 2 in February.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the process, I think before the new year hit, they said it was going to be delayed. Somewhere in between the launch and in that, and because they said they had things to work on after they did launch, right?
Right.
And there's a whole debacle of not having your content ready. Like, I mean, making big changes right before you send everyone on vacation. I think that was a dumb move. From a management standpoint, I don't know why the hell someone thought that was a good idea.
Well,
I mean,
that wasn't a good idea. This is where the problem lies, and I understand it was all in good for the Halo fan. And, me.
they meant well.
You,
They meant well.
They meant well. They did. They weren't trying to when they released it in November on the 15th for the anniversary. That's where the mistake lied. Because if they came in and they held it just before launch of Halo Infinite, then the anticipation would have been crazy because I was itching like, oh my God, like I cannot wait. For those times that we didn't have the chance to play the multiplayer, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. I need it more. So when Halo Infinite dropped, I'm like, oh man, yes. And then if you had a little bit more, that little, those couple of weeks, I think that's about 3 weeks. And then you kind of had a better understanding that things weren't going the way as planned. And then you was like, well, season 2 just going to have to be delayed
I think honestly, that's what happened.
They would have got it. Well, yeah, no, but they dropped it too early though. That's what I'm saying. Like if they didn't release it to everybody on the 15th of November, then it would. Then I think that people wouldn't be as angry or in a situation where they are of like you said, some people won't come back. Some people, I haven't played in a while.
People have different feelings. I want to get the ops like skin, the scorpion skin, but I can tell you right now, I fell asleep playing it.
Yeah.
I got booted from my game because I fell asleep.
Yeah,
so I got a temporary ban because I fell asleep. So and that's my fault, I guess. Maybe it's a little bit on 343 for not having new maps or something else to do.
No new maps. Yeah.
But it's not obviously not a permanent thing. But I've never fallen asleep during a Halo game. Like even when I'm dog tired. I mean, we've been in parties together, and just like. It's just one of those games that like the potential is there so much, but it's just so. I mean, there's no fat on the bone, man. There's no meat there. It's way too lean. And so as somebody has played previous Halos, it just doesn't quite scratch the itch on all fronts. It doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means it's kind of the honeymoon stage is over, and I'm like, only if they released like more maps and I get all this sort of stuff. It is difficult, obviously they're trying to make money. They're trying to make money back, right? Like that's why they have the microtransactions and all that sort of stuff. That's them. That's I think part of the cost of the delay in the first place. But my thing is the game is a service game, and I did a video on this on my YouTube channel. The games as a service game, you really have to. It's always additive, never take away. It's the main principle, right? And then when there's a previous expectation from a previous product, and this is a successor, you have to meet that expectation. Because what you do is you lose all that momentum, all those potential customers. Yes, you're going to have to swallow a little bit more expenditures to get that product out, and it sucks to have a delay because that affects people's jobs at studios. It affects the bottom line of revenue and all that sort of stuff. But you have to think of long term. This is a franchise that means a lot to your brand, and I just feel like they have too laxy daisy on this particular particular product and how they released it, and I don't want anybody in the studio being overworked or anything like that either, but like, I just, it's just, it can be in better shape. I don't think it's the end of Halo or anything like that, or 3v3 is a crappy studio. That's not my take on it. It just means they're not making the right call on the long term health of the game.
Right, like that's the question that I wanted to ask. I mean, well, yeah, you're a developer, because I'm like, I want to ask what am I doing? You're a developer, so I gotta ask this question. What the hell? Who gives the green light? Because it's the same thing with Crossfire X. Listen, let people say what they want to say about Crossfire X. I think that the single player aspect of it is pretty damn cool. I think it's good. I don't think it's like overwhelmingly fantastic, but I think it's good. The multiplayer for the modern has a lot of potential, but again, it's but who signed off on? Who is the person that signed on and said, "Look, we're just going to let them get these 3-4 maps, or this 1 or 2 maps, and we'll work on it going forward"? Who does that? Who thinks like that, to think that the public cares, especially with the society the way it is? It's like, I need it now.
Let's say
you have to at least come into a game.
Say you're
hold on. Let me say this part. Let me say this to people out here, for people in the industry who listens to this podcast.
Okay.
Let me make this clear. As a gamer, don't come out with your game. Don't come out with a shooter or any type of arena type of fighter or anything else and give me 2 or 3 maps. Give me at least 5 to 10. Do not mess around. If you got to bring in extra content, like more guns or something of that nature or whatever, I can roll with that. But I want to have more scenery so I can look. That's what keeps the ball rolling. You can't show us you can't give through preview a couple of 1 or 2 to 3 maps and then expect us to just keep playing that over and over and over. See, that's that mentality, the esports mentality, because they want to learn those maps inside and out. That's not what regular gamers are about. They want to have variety. So for whoever that's in control of whatever, stop it. But Don, why do they do that? Why do developers have this mentality that we can just get away with just having so few maps or fighters or whatever?
Well, there's always competing interests with your boss, right? Wow. Like, everyone's got a boss that they speak to, right? So say you got the money man. The money man saying, well, okay, why do you need more than 3 maps? You have other games that just release with 1 map, right? Like, you take what's that? What's that shooter that's not Titanfall? The other game that they did. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now.
Talk about Apex?
Apex, right? Apex released them with 1 map. So they'll make come for an argument, well, Apex released with 1 map, 4 characters. Why do you need more than that? Right? And then you got say a multiplayer lead, he's the guy that's the final guy to sign off, because every studio is structured a little bit different, who's the final person to sign off on it, right? But let's say it was the multiplayer lead, and he goes, man, I gotta please my boss. I guess I gotta do it, right? But it's a hard thing, because sometimes you kind of have to say the thing that's uncomfortable for the person that's ahead of you, right? Because let's say you have the publisher, you have the money man, you have the multiplayer lead, and the publisher's going, like, I don't know how much money I'm going to spend, what I'm going to get on my return. You have the money man saying, we don't need more maps, and then you have the multiplayer guy going, do I please my boss? What do I do, right? And the problem is, they release a product, right? And then, and the one person that spoke up may stick his neck out and get his head chopped off, right? If you get where I'm going with that, right?
Oh yeah. No,
or the one person doesn't, goes along with it, and he still gets his head chopped off because it's unpopular with the public, right? And then you have the public saying, okay, I'll give you a pass this time. Stop doing it, right? They get to a point where they get frustrated, right? They get to this buildup, and the problem is, you do have to create a product, and sometimes you just have to create a product. You can't listen to everyone that's out there, right? Like, it's impossible. There's so much noise out there. It doesn't mean that people don't have important points to be had out there, right? But I think a lot of times people are drawing from other successes in the industry and not seeing how they apply to this product or apply to that particular customer base that enjoys those products. And so there's that disconnect that exists out there, and everyone else is going like, this is so obvious, like what the hell are you guys doing, sort of thing. And you're just kind of in that position. So, this is kind of, I can talk about the issues in the industry, but like, this is why I'm a big component of not having a publisher right now. I can have a lot more money in my bank account, but I'm fine. I'm eating fine, right? So I'm going to develop my game the way I want it to. So when I bring on a publisher, it's very little money that I have to bring on. They don't have to worry about the risks. They don't have to worry about this other stuff. I can start making my demands, right? Making the right call for my customers. And so that's kind of, I think, the future of development, to be honest with you. But it's hard when you have big companies. You have big studios.
Yeah, that just irks me because, okay, on
a lot
Halo
of cooks in that kitchen,
Infinite,
man.
Right. On Halo Infinite, you have how many arena matches? I think 4.
I can't remember now. There's three main ones, right? There's and 2 big team battle ones, right?
Well, I thought it was 1 big team battle one.
No, you have the one that's a figure 8 that looks like Yosemite, right? And then you have the other one where usually you're playing was it the other one where there's that big gun that shoots out into the sky?
Right, that's the only big huge map there, because the other one is kind of, it still can be played as an arena map. It's too big for an arena map, the sand map.
No, that's not what I'm referring to. So there's the one that's like, it's trees.
Yosemite,
granite that has a structure in the middle, and it's like a figure 8. There's that one.
That's right. Yeah,
we played that in the beta. There's the one with the big rail gun that shoots up
in the sky.
Yeah, when you do the seeds thing.
Those 2, and then you got 3 of the
you got Bazaar. You got Bazaar. You got that little mall place you fight around in.
The arcade.
Yeah, arcade and ramen joints.
The sand, and then you got 4. So it's 7, but it just, and that's crazy because I said 5 to 10, but you just need 10. You need to split it. You need to split it up. Have 5 of the smaller arena maps, and you have to have 5 of the big maps, because it's just, I don't know, man. You have to have more when it comes to these type of games. Yes, those games the maps are great, everything, and I get it. You need the balance and all of that. It's fantastic, but
it's suffering from a lot. They're suffering from a lot. I mean, if you list the things the game's suffering from, right? It's map variety. It is Spartan upgradability variety. The standard features like Forge and co-op. Those are the major things that they're just not in the game that the customers expect.
Some people would say the weapons, but I don't even have a problem with the weapons.
The weapons are fine. They have enough variety in the weapons. I think they meet that threshold, right? But I don't feel like this game meets the bare minimum standard for a Halo game. That's the problem, right? And so, I'm not thinking about anything on PlayStation. I'm not thinking about anything on Nintendo's platform. I'm just thinking. I don't even think about other Xbox games. I'm thinking about Halo versus Halo.
No.
Right?
Halo versus Halo.
Yeah, right. And it's just not all there. And so, at this point, it's too late. They already released the game, right? So you have to prioritize how you're going to handle it going forward. And my answer is simple. You have to get the things that will have long-term effect in a positive direction. So you have to prioritize your desync. Your netcode has to get better. This is not the standard when it comes to Halo. It's not great. It's not good. It really stifles like new players to like, they're like, oh, how did I get killed? Well, because you're desynced and someone else is shooting you around the corner and you just have no idea, right? And you think about Halo's people get confused, like what happens, right? Like, my shield popped, someone threw a grenade, like just in normal situations people get confused when they're new to the product. So yeah, desync on top of that just compounds, and those people probably won't come back, to be honest with you. They'll have enough bad times, they're done. So you have to get your desync shit taken care of. Your next priority, it has to be Forge. Even though I think Forge is a little further out, you have to prioritize Forge, because Forge hinges on the other problem that you have, which is map variety, game type variety. That has to be a priority. And then the thing I wanted at launch, then you have to deal with, is the co-op. I mean, at the end of the day, it's already released, so they already screwed it up, right? Like that opportunity is already gone. And then there's debate between the co-op. I hear different things behind the scenes, but some people are also throwing it out there is it's the split screen thing causing issues because certain hardware can't scale it down enough to do basically render it twice. Does that make sense?
I just can't believe.
So then you get into a weird spot. Do you do split screen for people that are online first, or you do for people that are doing split screen? And I'm torn on it, to be honest with you. I'm really torn on it because I don't care about split screen. My children will never know what split screen is, right? Like, you're gonna play on your own damn monitor. You're gonna leave my TVs alone. They're gonna play on your screen, right? Split screen is not something I even remotely create. But at the same token, like, I look at Halo as a community, right? And just because it's not the thing I'm interested in, there are people that are interested. So I will forego the feature that I wanted, be owning the words that I say, right? And the feature I wanted, and say, you know what? If you have to delay it so it's fair for everyone, so do it. You already screwed it up, right? So might as well just do it and get it right. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no.
And then you can get that co-op experience, because co-op is very, very important. A lot of times that's people's first-hand experience playing through a story on a Halo game. In regards to that, and people have different opinions on it, but the reality is, if co-op wasn't important, Bungie wouldn't have made their whole entire next game co-op base. Right. So it's very, very important.
That's very, very important.
As far as a community aspect of a product is. So, I thought what the original delay had to do with game balancing. When you throw multiple characters on the map and you have a lot of AI out there, like, you just have a wall of bullets, mowing down AI. So you kind of have to, it's different balance in the game for a single player than it is for three other players on the map, right?
Right.
So I have a feeling that was a big portion of the delay, but I wouldn't be surprised if the split screen issue on older consoles is maybe something they just can't quite pull off with the engine in regards to that. But
then
what do you do? The question is,
I mean, listen, for me, I understand that this might sound tacky, and because I'm not trying, but I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
But if the hardware just can't get you there, then you just got to make because this is people in that's into gaming knows this. See, like this mentality where people come out and they say, well, parents is not going to understand this. We are the parents now. You know what I'm saying? We know. So we know. So if you come out and say, look, we just can't do this type of particular thing on the older hardware with split screen co-op for the online. We just can't do it. We could do the co-op split screen through your online, but we just can't do that. And just look at the percentages. Yeah, there will be those people that will complain, but for the most part, everybody who's that plays Halo, mostly, if you just look at percentage, they will be like, yeah, okay.
Well, every year you get less and less people that want to do split screen, right? I have nieces and nephews. When I explain split screen, they have the same confused look when they see a wind-up thing on the window of a door on a car. Like, they don't know what it is, right? Like, they haven't experienced it. It's not their thing. In regards to Yobi, I see those emojis. I see you in the chat.
What up,
there.
Yobi?
You light that up. You light that up.
Light it up with baby megas. Megas. I got the baby locks going on.
King Mega icon and the Dawn icon. I see what he's doing there.
Yeah.
I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That is the Dawn. Okay. I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a cat.
It was
okay,
both.
I see it.
He's subscribed to the Twitch channel. So,
I see it.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
There you go.
It just goes so many different directions when it comes to this, and like, 343, the hardest thing they have to do right now is get the community on board with one another, and that's a very hard thing to do.
I just don't think that it's going to happen.
Well, and that's what I was worried about. Like when you were saying like old style versus the new style, and I'm like, I don't know if those things are compatible. Like,
well, it works. I mean, look,
I don't know.
Look, you don't hear people talking about the gameplay like that. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. Because I said there had to be sacrifice on both ends. You got the people that don't like the sprint. You got the people that love the sprint. We and you don't like the old aesthetic, but I can live with it. But also, if they want to change and go back to the oldest, they can bring in a whole different vibe. They can keep this old aesthetic for the first 2 or 3 seasons, right? And then they can bring the Halo 4, Halo 5 aesthetic into season 4 and 5. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe.
That would be great. Like you can balance that. Like, you know what I'm saying? There will be people that won't like it, but there'll be people that'll love it, whatever the case may be. But the one thing that all of us gamers want and need is content, and you need more and more of it, especially with shooters.
Yeah.
We get bored easily. There's too much competition out there. Halo is definitely shown that they are still the best in the game. When
it comes to arena shooters, they're top of the game.
They're top of the food chain. But without content, you're going to have Apex Legends. You're going to have whatever else that's going to be coming out to dominate because you don't have enough content. And that you just got to be honest with the public. That's all we care about. Just be honest with us. Yes, there's going to be people that bitch and complain and moan and groan. Yes, it is what it is. But you just got to just say, look, you don't give out these expectations. That's when Battlefield lost me, and I'm like, no more day one Battlefields for me ever again. So you said the content's coming. The content better come. And I'm not talking about you can tell me within another once the first piece of content was supposed to come and then say, oh no, I meant here in another 6 months. No. You better just say to be determined. You know what I'm saying? You just makes it don't give us a date. Just say it's gonna come. And then there will be people that will leave. There will be some people that won't come back, but I guarantee you there'll be more people to come back once all the content came. Because case in point, Cyberpunk 2077. There was a lot of people that said, I don't want it. I don't care about it anymore. Once that patch dropped, then people were like, damn, I need to go pick that up. So they went and rebought it. Mm-hmm. So gamers will come back if they love the game enough. But these developers and whoever's that's in charge have to let people be. They just got to.
You have to minimize pissing people off in the meantime,
right?
Until they get there, right? And they have to.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, so that means you have to maintain the people that are playing, make sure they're happy, right?
Yeah.
Give reasons for people to come back, right? And get to that point as quickly as you can and as stably as you can, right? Easier said than done. To earlier expectations of previous products. But I think one of the things too, they do need to have more stuff you can earn without spending money. Like that, I don't think they meet that promise. There was a blog post that they did saying that, hey, you're going to have all this stuff you can purchase because it's a free-to-play game, but they wanted to assure you that you're going to get plenty of free content for just simply playing the game. Mm-hmm. They haven't delivered on that promise, in my view, and just they just have to start delivering on promises in regards to that. I understand that they're in a bad place, and honestly, I'm a little bit worried about Jason Statham. Jason Statham. What is it? The other guy that works at 343.
The guy that came in to fill in. Statham.
Statham.
No. No, hold on.
I'm saying his name wrong. Yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But I'm not a fan of him. I'm just gonna just say it in the industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not, because everything he touches, like he's good about getting something out the door, but he lets stuff just die on the vine. And he has not proven to me that he's committed to the long term of a product. And that's a little bit concerning because you look at Crackdown. That's what he's involved in, right? What happened to the multiplayer on that?
Oh well, that part is true, but
Yeah,
no,
it doesn't mean he's not
it's just
talented.
too.
He
Yeah,
doesn't.
no, he's talented, but
It
oh,
doesn't mean he's not
don't do
talented,
that.
but he's not willing to put his neck on. What I see is I'm not seeing him putting his neck on the line for the long term success of a product, and that's where I'm a little bit concerned in regards to that. So like I'm not gonna hate on him. Please don't send him hate tweets or anything like that. But like I'm just he has to prove to me that he's in it to win it, and I'm not convinced. As far as any talent over at 343, I think he's the one I'm least convinced that he's in it to win it. So
Well, I don't know. I mean, hopefully,
hopefully I'm wrong.
hopefully he
Hopefully I'm
is.
wrong.
It's too big. It's too big of a game to do that. But of course, that's people. They like to talk about. Because this designer he left, and there's
Oh, you're talking
there's
about the lead multiplayer designer.
design. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
so
that's to be expected
he's
this
already
time
done his
around.
work. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he's done his work.
he's done his work. I mean, what else is he going to do at this point? At this point, it's
Mm.
releasing maps and things like that. Maybe they'll release some other weapons here and there, but all the heavy lifting's been done. So, like, in what you do is you wait until the product release, you wait until you get your bonus, right? And you don't leave your coworkers hanging. So if you're gonna exit, this is the time you would exit. If you're planning to exit at a company, you're not in a great position when I say exit before a product releases, like a month or 2 months before it releases, because then you don't get the payouts and the bonuses and stuff like that. And there's something else maybe going on, but industry moves along. I mean, this is just a Tuesday. Most people move from studio to studio. They're very nomad in that sense as far as the industry is concerned. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people want to work on different projects, and there's different reasons why certain some people love Halo say this is the pinnacle. Why would you want to ever work on something else? Well, maybe he has other ambitions other than Halo. Like, you just don't know if that's the case. And 343 is a Halo studio, and then people all over the world want to work at 343 because it's Halo, right? Just like the same reason why some people may leave, because it's just Halo. You know what I mean? So there's multitude of different reasons. If his heart's not into it, he's given all that he's got. He doesn't feel like he's got any more to offer to it. And, I wish him the best of luck. I think he did a good job. I don't agree with all his decisions, but I don't think he did a bad job or anything like that.
No, he didn't.
And I think a lot of the challenges that are faced up against has nothing to do with his position. To be honest with you. So.
Well, that's well, just I know. I mean, I'll still be playing Halo because I love Halo like that. But it's but I mean, it does suck that
it's a little heartbreaking.
We got to wait even longer. It is heartbreaking for the situation to be at this.
We're gonna co-op it though. You and I will co-op
it
when it's ready. We're not doing no damn split screen though. I'm not coming over to your house. You're not coming over to my house. We're not doing that damn split screen shit.
Just say, hey, look, you'll have your split screen on the Series S, Series X. If you're on the Xbox One, sorry, just can't do it. So just do it that way. If
yeah, I mean, I think that's more than reasonable. In regards to that.
I think that's just fair.
And so. Yeah, Halo, I'm sure it's not the last time we'll talk about it. I'm sure it'll come up again. So, yeah.
We will talk about Halo again, but I think we'll probably not talk about Halo for a couple of months because we probably won't hear anything about it.
I'm getting a little tired of it, to be honest with you, because I don't want to shit on it, man. I don't.
Me neither. I love Halo. Halo is my favorite franchise of all.
You got to be genuine about it, mean, there's other stuff. Do you see the campaign story stuff they talked about, or is it the what was it, multiplayer story stuff they were talking about?
There was.
Did you see some of that on the? They did on the blog post. They talked about it.
I didn't see it on the blog post, but I did read about it from somewhere else. It was talking about the new story aspect, and it could be coming out this year. The expansion or whatever. And then they were discussing if these stories would be broken down.
Or they're like playable things, or they're just like a little cutscene beforehand. What is it? So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So they talked about your Spartan going through a journey, and I will say this too: when the co-op happens, don't make everyone Master Chief. Let you play your multiplayer Spartan as player one is Master Chief. Everybody else is their Spartan they have in the multiplayer. Whatever that. Armor Core
That
is,
it was
right?
part. Yes, right. Yeah. I don't want to see 4 Master Chiefs. I don't. I just want, give us the variety. So, and I think they'll do that. I don't think that they'll be that bland to
I
just
don't know.
say,
I don't know. At this
"Oh
point, I'm not
man,
holding my breath either way.
oh my
but
God,
they're
don't do that."
obviously
Anyway,
capable of doing. People are already modding the game and have their armor cores in the campaign
yeah,
already on the PC side of things. So obviously, it's more than capable of doing it
you're right. Yeah,
internally
I
for
think.
343. So
Yeah, I think they'll. I don't think they'll be that bland or that just half-ass with it. I got more faith in 343 than that. I know a lot of people would differ, but I still stand strong with 343. I have faith in them. It's just that they got to get this ball rolling with this content. Because hey, look, I mean, you just got to be a realist. I mean, this is why people will brag about single player games instead of multiplayer games. And look,
or
Sony's
games as
gonna
a service in general.
games in a certain general, because at least you know what you get with a single player experience. Sony's going to go through this because if they got 10 games as a service coming out, they're going to go through their woes as well. So that is so people get ready for that. But anyway, that's for another story, another discussion for another time. Let's talk about state of play.
Oh yeah, that just
You
happened.
saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just happened. Let's talk about state of play. All right. So there was, for me, I will just say it right off the bat. This is, if anything, and I posted this today too, after I got finished watching it. If there's one thing that hasn't left me when I was once a really hardcore PlayStation fan, I mean, I still have love for PlayStation. People don't take that as like, oh, well, he said, I still have love for PlayStation. It's just my side piece now. I will always still support PlayStation, but I'm not as diehard as I used to be. But the one thing that has not left is my love for Japanese games. So I thought that this show was absolutely phenomenal. There was only one game that I looked at, a little suspect, like, but for me, I was like, oh, this is gold. This is real good gold for me. So what did you think about it? And just give me, I'll go through a list of some of the games that came out, but what was that one particular game that you may have looked at and says, you know what? I would cop that. What did you think about it?
Well, the first thing is the presentation of how Sony does it. I like it a lot. It's straight to the point, cut. No bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, they'll, if they feel like they have to explain something, they take 3 seconds to say what it is, and then boom, they cut right into what it is, right? There was a lot that was thrown at, so it's hard to keep in mind. I know Forsaken left an interesting impression that was different this time around. What was the other game that was part of the Bethesda group, but Sony had an exclusivity for a while?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks real good. I like it.
I'm so hyped for that game. I'm so hyped. Yeah,
that game looks really good. Yeah, like
yes.
that's the one that left the biggest impression for me. So I'll see. I mean, is it being released on PC as well?
Yeah. It's going to be released on PC.
Oh yeah, I'll just buy it on PC.
That's what I was like, man. I'm not daring touch.
Well, I'm not.
Game
it's nothing against Sony, but if I can buy it on PC, it's not not through Steam, but like through, maybe they won't allow you to do it through the Xbox app with that contract. Maybe we'll see how that all pans out. But if I can go through the Xbox app, then I'll get the ability once they release it on their console to play it on their console as well. There's extra value in that for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, but I think that will be delayed for a year.
Yeah, I think you'll see it on Steam, but you won't see it on.
Yeah, you won't see it on
Microsoft's store for the
Game
PC.
Pass. Yeah. No, that won't be that. What did you think about the Exo Primal game? Because I mean, that was just like the.
You mean Dino Crisis?
Well,
it's from Capcom, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like Dino Crisis / Anthem. Like, what did you think about that game I don't know. I thought it was cool, but I was just like, oh my goodness, this makes me want to go play the one dinosaur game that we were playing.
We have to go finish that.
We got to go finish that.
There's a lot of have to go finish. I didn't get a good impression of it because the stream was having lagging issues when I was watching it, and it was having lagging issues specifically around that game. So I didn't really get to see it all that much. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I got the pixel show instead of the actual game being displayed. So it is what it is. But the little bit I was able to get a sneak peek at it, it was just like, oh, this is Dino Crisis, and then it's kind of not with a little Anthem flair to it. So yeah, I don't know. It just made me miss Anthem more than it made me curious about this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I looked at it and I said, "Oh, this would be a cool game to play." It's coming to Xbox. It's called Exo Primal. It's not an exclusive, but I'm like, I play it. Just a good, fun multiplayer game to jump around and just do some cool stuff with. So yeah, no, I thought that was a interesting game just to see right off the bat. Like, oh my goodness, like all these dinosaurs just coming at you and stuff. It was wild, but another game that I looked at, and I know you didn't mention it, but that was the Ninja Turtles collection. That is where we're going to be. That's going to be absolutely great because I think it's got, I don't know how many games is going to be a part of it, but I know they got 2 fighters. They got both arcade games, but I need to know if they have the
online co-op. That's my question, is if it's online co-op.
Oh, I'm sure it's 4-player online co-op. It has to be.
Well, I've ran into this stuff before where you have old games, and that's would be the expectation is you can do that, and you can't. I mean, like what were Battletoads? You couldn't do online co-op. It was couch, right? So that was true. Yeah. So there's that aspect of things. If there's online co-op, I'm sure we won't stop hearing it from Sir X-Men for months on end if there's online co-op.
Oh well, you won't stop hearing it from me because I'm going to be like, hey man, I'm copping that. It's called the Cowabunga collection.
What turtles? What type of turtle are you? Are you?
I'm a Donatello, Raphael guy.
That's a good name. That's a good name for a turtle.
Yeah. What turtle are you?
Leonardo.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, everybody likes Leonardo or because the sword and the nunchucks, but I've always kind of liked I like the staff. I like the size. I like, see what I would love. The perfect turtle is Raphael's attitude with Donatello's intellect and staff. Like, give me the staff. Like, I love the staff. Like, that's one of my favorite weapons. So, to use like if even in a fighting game or whatever. But yeah, no. Let me see. It's coming out this year, but I'm trying to see more about. Okay, yeah. Added online play. Hold on. Let's see.
How much is the turtle collection?
That part I do not know. Let me read this. It says, let me read it. Okay, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection is a collection of 13 previously released video games from arcade, Nintendo Entertainment. Oh yeah, so it's going to be the old school Nintendo game that I beat so long ago, and it was so hard. Dang it. Okay.
Bullshit, unless I see a trophy or achievement now.
And the Nintendo.
Now you can't hide behind that history where they didn't have trophies or achievement, right? You have to put up or shut up.
Put up or shut up. It says popular and very influential games. This collection provides a unique opportunity for gamers to experience these titles with fantastic set and new quality of life features. Added online play for certain games and local couch co-op. Okay, so the arcade games, I believe, will be because it said online play, added online play. So the
so it's not clear.
Well, no, okay. So it said added. It said okay. So like,
so you think it was co-op? You think it's going to have online co-op?
Right. Like, let's see. Okay, so it says save anytime and rewind. The new gameplay modes, whatever. Talk about button mapping. HD textures, unique development art. Okay. The games are based on the characters. Okay, yeah, we get all that. So yeah, no, there's it's pretty wild because the arcade games I know for certain will be online. The fighters I think will be online. but I don't know how far back.
Well, some of those turtle games didn't have co-op, right? They were just
right,
turtle
right,
games.
right.
Like they were like the old NES one. From what I remember, you would pick your turtle, or a certain turtle or a certain turtle was associated with certain levels. I wasn't quite sure. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But it wasn't co-op. It was single player.
You're a fraud. You never played it because you don't know anything.
All I remember is a damn sewer area where there's those blocks you had to jump on, and
that was the cheapest.
That I couldn't get. That's the part. Area. That's the part I couldn't get going, right? Because I couldn't get the jump timing, or you hit a. I can't remember if you hit your head on something, and so you couldn't quite make the jump. So you had to make the. You have to short change your jump, but you had the same token be just long enough not to hit the top. Yeah, it was.
It was garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only part I had a hard time with, and that's the reason why I know I didn't beat it. There's a couple NES games I couldn't beat. In a lot of the hard ones people brag about, I didn't have any problems. So Ghosts and Goblins, Ninja Gaiden, those were easy. But I couldn't get Ninja Turtles, and I couldn't. There was another game I had a hard time.
I couldn't beat Captain Planet. I couldn't beat Top Gun.
I wouldn't even acknowledge Captain Planet was real. I did beat Top Gun.
I couldn't land it. I never could land it.
I felt it was so random though on landing.
I think I landed once out of 1,000. So I never beat it. That was the Dark Souls. Trying to land that plane. That was the Dark Souls game right there.
You're not wrong. That was harder than playing Ghosts and Goblins, and that was revered for its difficulty.
Ridiculous. Now, the one thing that I was good at that other people were having a problem with was attaching your getting fuel into your jet. I hit that perfect every time, but landing that, man, no, hell no, I could not land that. I did it. I know I did it once because I went and I told my mom, and my mom looked at me like I was crazy because I ran in there. I landed the plane. What plane? I don't see no plane outside. No, on the game. Well, if you don't get your ass out of here, okay, all right. So that was basically how that went. But
she's looking at you like you got a vitamin D deficiency. Get outside, boy.
Yeah, that boy. I was always outside, but still, I love that. But Captain Planet was horrible. I didn't
know Captain Planet made it on the Nintendo.
Yeah. I tried as hard as I could. That game was awful, but it was. I love Captain Planet. I used to watch it all the time.
Man, I can't deal with the seaweed mullet shit. I can't deal with that shit.
Oh man, that was it. Oh, that's wind. Oh fuck. But let's see.
Hey, listen here. I mean,
everybody beat Contra. That's a given. You had to beat Contra.
Well, the funny thing is, I beat Contra not knowing about the up, down, left, right.
Yeah, the 99. Yeah.
So
me too.
Yeah, I only did. Was it the 3 life sort of thing, and it's before like the code got out there, right? And I remember talking about it. It was such a weird experience because I remember talking about it in school. I'm like, yeah, there's these like scorpion little things that are crawling the ceiling and the bottom, and then you have to time with the spikes dropping in before you get to the big heart. And I sound like crazy as hell trying to explain the end of that game, right? And I remember the kids in the schoolyard used to make fun of me, like, you didn't beat it, bullshit, like all that sort of stuff. And then the Konami code came out, and they were like, you beat it before the Konami code. No, man, and so I remember one day, it just, like, I didn't even know about the code or anything like that. It went from my reputation just flipping, into the positive where they found out
because he's like, oh wow,
he wasn't bullshitting. That's exactly what it was.
I did not know about the code until I went over to a friend's house and he put the code in on his NES and we were like, I was like, what's going on? Because I already died like 3 times when we were like halfway through.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and I said, my life came back. Is this because we're playing together? It's like, no, it's the code, man. You know the code? And then so I was like, he said, the code I told you to put in there? I was like, yeah, really? And that was my first time ever knowing about a cheat code like that. Yeah. I never knew anything like that. So
remember the waterfall level where you're going up on that game?
You have to make them flips.
So all I remember is when someone had the code put in, I would be the biggest jerk and jump as fast as I can to get him off the map and kill him.
Get him off the map, yeah.
Because I figured he had so many lives, like who cares? Like I beat the game with 3, so I can.
I can see you being an
No,
asshole. Like
yeah, I
that.
was that friend.
Oh my goodness. Okay, of course, Zelda. I never beat. You know what? I've rarely played the Link Before Past or whatever that's called. The second one. I just didn't
I
like
like
the way it looked.
The second one was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I need to go back and I need to play that. I played that
I don't
for
know
a
if
hot minute. It just
it'd
felt
be hard
weird.
it'd be hard to do it now, but
I think I could go back and try to play it.
Yeah, it was interesting because so they had a bunch of cool little secrets in that game that you would discover. So Link had magic. So it was I mean, you get items, but you would get magic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you get like a life spell to give yourself more life, if that makes any sense, or increase your shields, or but like it's not typical Zelda. Usually you get just equipment, right? So that's the one that did that radical departure, and it did what it is the overhead world, kind of like an old Final Fantasy game, right?
Yeah,
that's how it was. And then when you would hit something, or like a monster would come by and get you, you'd be sucked into the 2D side-scrolling world of
and
the
that's
fighting.
It confused me. Yeah, it was really confusing to me. Like I didn't like that part. Like I was like, but so that's why I didn't play it.
I really fell in love with it originally because of I thought Link looked like a little pudgy little little elf dude, and then and now Link looked like a little bit of a badass back in the day when the side scrolling
and all that.
But no, one of the best I would say out there, one of the best final bosses in the game ever is in that game.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's spoilers, been out forever, right? But you play against your shadow, and that character will kick your ass. But it's fun because, like, you know, when you hit shields, right, you bounce off one another, you come back at it, and it would, when you would fight against them, you'd be dueling for a while where, like, no one's really landing any appropriate hits that's getting the kill. Does that make sense? Or getting the hit, and there's a lot of back and forth, and you're just like, it makes you step up your game so quickly. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy, sort of thing. But no, cool story. You die, Gandalf comes back because he needs your blood. Like, it's a very dark Zelda game.
Really?
Yeah, that's the story of it. Like, you know, so it actually takes place it's not a reboot, so it takes place right after the first Zelda. And what ends up happening is you know, the princess somehow was in a sleep. You had some sort of mark of the Triforce that was like imprinted on your hand or something like that, and you're on a journey to wake up the princess again, essentially, right? Get your girl, you know, that sort of thing. However, all Ganon's minions are out there trying to kill you, and the reason why they're trying to kill you is your blood is the thing they need to be able to revive Ganon, because you killed Ganon from the first one. So that's kind of how that storyline goes, and it's dark. You know, you have other things, like you have a spell that turns your character into a fairy. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And so, you know, like, you have to get through certain doors and stuff like that, require keys. Well, if what people didn't realize, and it's part of the game, is if you transform into a fairy, you can float right through the keyhole of the doors. You just go right on through.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool. I need to go back and
you play it through different ways. And there's the down thrust. That's where the down thrust mechanic started, was that game, and the up thrust mechanic that you now see, like, on with that fighting game that they have. So Smash Brothers. So it's that's where all that kind of started. So it's a cool game. It's not for everyone though.
Nuts.
So, yeah,
that is nuts. I definitely need to give that game a chance. I just didn't like, once you went into that 2D mode, I was like, what is this? And I don't know, it's just something about it just turned me off. Now I don't know, but see, it wasn't like I had a problem with the 2D with other games like Russian Attack. I don't know, it's just a flip thing. It just was weird. Like when I beat Metal Gear, like I you know what I'm saying, that was crazy because you did all different types of stuff, but it had that view. And there was times that you would go into the 2D view. Russian Attack, of course, Ghost of Goblins. I don't know what it was about Zelda that just. I
get it, because I was the same way about.
Yeah.
I never got into Final Fantasy games and turn-based RPGs for that same reason, right? But whatever, I gave it a pass as a kid because I just thought the graphics were so cool at the time.
Yeah.
In regards to that. So
weird.
a lot of times when the graphics are cool, you give it a pass as a kid. You know what I mean? But I did say it looked like an ass from up top for sure.
Yeah, it did, and I don't know. Maybe it was I don't know what it was about Zelda Link in the past, but I do definitely need to go back and try to play that game again. I don't have a problem with going back and playing older games from my childhood. It's just that I sometimes now that going and playing games, newer games that still want to use that old type of 8-bit look, just kind of like, you know what? We could do better, can't we? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've been there, so I don't know. But yeah. So I don't know.
All right. So
anyway,
they're done with memory lane. What's the next part?
Yeah, I know. I just thought about it for a second. It's like, okay, we got to get back to. All right, so I do think that the online will be working for doing the co-op for the arcade, so that's going to be good.
Let me know.
Yeah,
just let me know. Let me know. I'll pick it up if it's in there. It'd be cool to do some of the arcade games.
Yeah. And then there was, we already talked. There was a game towards the end. There was 2 Square Enix games that came out. One turn-based. I know you don't care about it. The other one looked pretty damn cool.
The turn-based one I thought was a
Starfield Chronicles. That's what it was called.
Yeah, but it kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
It had that sort of look. So actually, out of all the Final Fantasies I liked playing was Tactics.
Really?
Yeah, because it was turn-based with like a chess mechanic, right? So I always felt like turn-based games there was not as much strategy really involved. Does that make sense? You just kind of roll the dice. It's sort of type mechanic, and then you play it easy enough to build up your character, and then it becomes less of a you still roll the dice, but it's more likely going to win those matches as you level up or find equipment. But I felt like Final Fantasy Tactics was cool because it's based on your position on the map. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to balance positioning your character and be able to make a move. And that I like that strategy. It's kind of a thinking man's RPG, turn-based RPG is the way I always kind of categorize those. It's not like the other ones don't require thought, but you get where I'm going with that, right? There's that extra level of depth that's there that I really do enjoy. So I don't know if I'll have time to play a game like that, or that's the issue. We're talking about time and freedom to be able to do a game like that. But
so many games out there, right?
Yeah, but I would be open to it. To be totally honest with you, in regards to that, that's the exception on the turn-based for me is that kind of strategy placement. So
okay, all right. The game that I looked at that I was really excited about was the Valkyrie Elysium. That was the game that they showed right after the Starfield Chronicles, which that was more of a kind of a hack and slash with magic. Live action, wasn't turn-based. Thought it was really cool, like the cool looking aesthetic or whatever. I think that's an exclusive. Now the Starfield Chronicles is not an exclusive. That's going to be coming to Xbox as well. But the other one will be coming to PC. So I'll probably pick it up on PC. Or I could probably pick that one up on the PlayStation 4 because it's not graphically demanding or anything. So I might pick it up on a PlayStation 4. But yeah, now that to me look good. Now, of course, where I'm going to go with this.
Fighter.
Yes, Jojo Bizarre Adventure. Now, look, it is pretty nuts.
Is that your thing? Is as a fighter? Is that something that's on your radar?
It's pretty wild. It is a pretty wild anime.
Obvious.
Right. And I don't know if you've heard me play the crazy noise where they do goes ooh whatever. That's not from the actual anime, but they do have people like that makes those type of crazy noises. It has the crazy guitar riff and stuff. But anyway, but the story is pretty damn good. Like I was watching it on Toonami. I was watching it was last year when I was watching it kind of heavy. The story is pretty good. Like, and I played a couple of other JoJo Bizarre fighters on PlayStation. Was looking forward to see if it was going to come on PC. But now knowing that this is going to be coming on Xbox, yeah, this is a day one. You know, I love my fighters. It's pretty wild, but it's going to be a fun. It's a fun game. It's and this is something definitely for me and Yobi to jump in and play, because Jump Force is not going to be. It's going to get discontinued
It's a goner.
online.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and we can play that, and then I just got hit up by Iceman too. So
he's always in for a fighter or two. I would be honest. Here's where it lost me, because I was kind of like, okay, because like it was my first exposure to it, right? So like I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, it's a fighter. Okay, I get combos, tagging people in, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that damn dude on the horse, start punching, I'm like, I'm out. This is for Mega, not me. This is not my game.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I'm out. I tapped out at that point. I'm like, nope.
It's okay. So this is the thing where it's okay. There are there are these things, the persona like things, like they can use, and they're like their protectors, or they fight for them. So that's what so that's what that horse was.
Yeah.
There's all different types.
I don't know if you heard me, but I'm out.
Oh yeah, I heard you.
I'm out.
There's a guy that has a little airplane and all that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but
yeah. Even that's fine. There's a place for that sort of stuff. And I, as much as it's not something for me, but I do find joy that other people actually enjoy a game like that.
Oh yeah.
And I would recommend it if I have a better understanding of watching you guys and stuff like that of it. I would even recommend it to people that might be interested in it, but it's not my cup of tea. Like, I don't know, something happened to me between when I was a child to being an adult. Like, like when people say like, I don't watch cartoon anymore because I grew up. Bullshit. Like, stop that.
Right.
Like, I don't play video games anymore. But I don't play
Guy
I don't play video games more because I grew up or whatever. You know that argument as a kid, right?
Yeah.
I always thought like, okay, shut up. But something happened to me as I got older that I just lost interest in a lot of Japanese anime. Like, I used to be curious about all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Japanese anime curious, I guess is the best way to describe me as a kid. And I had friends there, they had it, and they had the VHS tapes we would watch, all that sort of stuff. But at a certain point, I don't know, it kept growing into its own thing, and I just lost interest, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
no, I totally get it. I get it. There was a couple of more not fighters, but games. There was the Gundam game. That was the one game that just I wasn't excited about at all. It's an arena shooter.
it seems like a game for people who like Gundam.
Right, like
it's a fan favorite game sort of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Gundam, but I want to have it a fighter or make a story Gundam game, and that's what I was hoping that it was at first. And then when I seen that they had little shooting mechanics, and it looked kind of bland. Graphically, it didn't look strong, so I was. It
looks like Gundam. It looks for the fan base. And it looks pretty much just that for the fan base. Because sometimes like fan base games like that, where they have a genre that's I would say outside of gaming. Like a lot of times the gameplay is just simplified so they can get as many gamers to try it. You know what I mean? Like they might not be traditionally gamers and stuff like that. So.
That could be a game that could be definitely added to the PlayStation's service that they're going to be dropping here pretty soon. So, I would try at the end there. So, there's no doubt about that. All right, and then there was one game. I can't find the name of that game. That's what I was looking for, but it was a samurai game, 2D.
Oh, that one was really awesome.
That looked great.
Like a spaghetti western in a side-scrolling sort of. That one was really. Good. I forgot about it. As I said, there was a lot of stuff there, and I forgot about a bunch of it because it's so quick. But
and that's
that samurai game looked good.
That was from Devolver, and I do believe that is a multi-plat as well. So I think I seen that on Twitter before I started looking for these other games that they showed. So that's a game that I'll definitely pick up. I mean, beautiful looking indie game that looked really, really dope. So I will definitely catch on to that. And then there was Returnal. There's 2 players, and I look every time that I see Returnal, I'm like, when I get a PlayStation 5, that will be probably the first game that I'll buy.
Mm-hmm.
That, and then probably Forspoken or if I can get it sometime around that time or whatever. But
yeah,
Forspoken's
is exclusive to the PlayStation, right?
Yeah, that's exclusive to
That's
PlayStation and will it come to PC as well, but like that, and so
I guess
like
launch exclusive, I guess, is a better way to describe it.
No, I think it's going to come out on PC at the same time. So yeah, no,
so that's what I mean, like launch console exclusive.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, console exclusive. Yeah,
Xbox One terms from 5 years ago. So. You know what I mean?
Right. So all this crazy terminology.
Yeah, but exclusive on the PlayStation as far as consoles are concerned. Launch catch up. Yeah, so no, that little samurai game looked really cool. There's some interesting things. This is exciting, and that's not
like a good show.
Yeah, that's not all their games. E3 is still around the corner, right?
Right.
That's not everything. So we have a lot more to look forward to, even from the Sony side of things as well. So.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, no, I like the state of play. But yeah, the showcase for me was definitely Ghostwire Tokyo. I can't tell you how excited I am for that game. It reminds me of Supreme Warrior on the Sega CD. I can't tell you how many times I beat that game. I loved everything about Supreme Warrior.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo is my favorite. In the side-scrolling black and white samurai game, those are the two that piqued my interest the most.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then of course for me it was Ghostwire, and then it was Jojo.
Jojo. Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. It's that high up there. Okay, gotcha. I got you.
Yeah, it's a fighter, man. I mean, I know. I'll be fighting with guys with curly Q haircuts. It's all good. So what I'm saying. I'll send you a couple of pictures.
I'm sure you'll be inundating me with screenshots throughout.
Yes,
just to harass me. Just to harass me. Someone's gonna look up my name on Google and it's gonna come up with JoJo's Adventures.
Yes, all 50 characters. I'm gonna let you see every character. So get ready for that.
Every move, list them one by one.
Yes, one by one. Now this is punch. This is kick. Anyway, all right. So let's move on. Okay, let's talk about Phil Spencer and what he had to say. And which he said this before, but he went a little bit further on this. We was talking about toxicity in gaming. After he won an award, he went ahead and had that interview and with GameStop. I say GameStop, GameSpot. And so he just basically says, Phil Spencer wants gamers to treat developers with more dignity and respect. Look, I don't even have to go through and read any of this. We kind of get the understanding. Look, man, it is crazy with the death threats, how people are acting. I get it. No, I mean, listen, like that's why I was making a point about the 343 situation. Look, I am upset about some of the things that's going on with Halo content-wise. Still love the game, all that. We've already talked about that for about damn near an hour. But,
yeah, gotcha.
But it is true that there are people out there that's unhinged, and I understand the passion. I want certain things to be a certain way too. But just like with Battlefield, I'm not going to sit here and write to a developer and tell him how much I'm displeased with what's going on with that game, because it's a collective group of people that it just didn't work out the way that it was supposed to.
Well, I think right. A lot of people also do. This is one of like. When I did the podcast with you and Bot and the crew over there or on Next, right?
Next. Yeah.
Right. I was only going to be there for a couple of shows. That was the plan, right? But what kept me around, right, is I realized I start diffusing a lot of these thought processes the gamers had just from the reach what Next podcast had, right? And I realized there is a role that I have and a responsibility I have that sometimes is a little bit of an uncomfortable place to be, is to bring understanding for gamers, right? So people can come together from both sides of things. So like this comment from Phil is definitely heartfelt, I think, for most people in the industry. I think it's especially heartfelt for me because I've been fighting that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I get through to 3 or 4 gamers, that's a win. right? I'm not saying I'll get thousands of people to get on my side, and I don't want people to worship the ground I walk on. That's not what I want either, right? I want people to have an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes, so people, when they can start approaching their unfavored ways things are going on in gaming, that they can they basically can articulate themselves in a way that it's productive for everyone that's involved. And and gamers too, like developers are gamers, right? The guys are cut from the same cloth, right? You wouldn't want to make games unless you love games that much. So it sucks to hear it from your peers, right? And it also sucks to hear that when you put your heart and soul into something and it just didn't work out. Like, that sucks. It sucks so bad, because really majority of them are there to entertain. They're not there just to get a fast cash paycheck, because they can sell life insurance or do other crap like that can give them a paycheck, right? Where they don't really care about how the quality of their work. This is something they do it because they like the quality of the work they want to put out there. And it sucks. It's heartbreaking to see, and I would say this. It's also heartbreaking to see gamers treat other gamers like crap. I think I would, if I was going to expand what Phil said, like, yes, I agree with everything he says, but I will say this: everything he says also applies to gamers treating other gamers the same way. And then I would also say, as an industry, we have a responsibility to meet our promises, deliver products on time, and don't have false expectations of a product. We're the gatekeepers of that, right? So we do kind of have to own up to that, instead of less of oopsie, we're going to fix it later sort of thing. That we bring a little bit of that distrust. I don't think the level of outrage is proportionate to the outcome of the product, but I get it in regards to that. So yeah, I'm right there with Phil in regards to that. But I think industry wise, we can improve that. And I think I would love to see other developers come out and just have an open conversation like what Devin the Gamer is, right?
Right.
With gamers, because it's not going to get any better. Like, Phil can wish it upon the industry, and I know he's very heartfelt when he says that, but it's not going to make a difference in the world until developers can openly talk with gamers in a respectful manner, and vice versa. Until we get to that point, or we encourage that within the industry, we're always going to have this friction. Does that make sense? And in the industry kind of created this friction in some degree. So you kind of have to own up to that as well. So it's difficult waters to navigate. Sometimes it's just easier not to engage. The reason why you don't see me talk on Twitter a whole lot, because I just don't want to get into childish conversations with people, right? But the same token, like, all these people that are mad gamers are just passionate gamers. If you really, really think about it, they're just passionate gamers, and some just take it way too far.
And then there's a lot of people that don't even care about gaming.
No,
but they like to. But they want to. But you got that element that just want to go out there,
that shit stirring,
troll, and just start a whole bunch of shit, and it just doesn't make any sense. I totally agree 100%. I do feel bad for a lot of developers, regardless of, like, I think if there's any developers that I give shit to, and that is from the dudes from Platinum Games. But still, I don't want them to get hate mail.
It's not all of them, right? It's
right. No,
there's a certain
couple of them.
There's a certain segment of them that are causing the issues internally there, right? Sometimes it comes down to leadership, where leadership sets the bad example for others to go around. In certain places, to be honest with you, the atrocities that happen within the industry have nothing to do with leadership. It has to do with culture within the company, right? And that's a harder thing to break, right? We see all those misdeeds that are happening in things like Activision and other companies along those lines. That's a much harder thing to eradicate, right? Like, I don't think you can eradicate all of it, to be honest with you. But you can have consequences for people's actions.
Well, we're seeing that with Babylon Fall. Like, I mean, I'm seeing blogs, I'm looking at other people out there within the industry that, some people like to keep themselves anonymous and things like that. But, but they're even saying now, like, look at, I'm saying the bottom seems to have fallen out from where Platinum Games were at was looked at as a top tier studio to now it's like mediocre, up and down, things like that. And I'm not, and I'm not the only one that's been saying that. And and the only reason why I kind of pile on is the only reason because of how some individuals there within that studio comes at their fan base. You call people cockroaches, things like that. Then I don't have any type of respect for you, anything like that. Now, if you're upset and call people out their name because people are come at you without, the people came at them disrespectfully, disrespectful, then yes, I totally get it. I understand it. We're human and they're human, and sometimes there's going to be people that's going to lash out.
You nailed it. You nailed it though. Like there's an expectation, I think, a developer how they're going to present themselves to a gamer, right?
Right.
You're not above them, but the same token, you need to hold a high standard to yourself. There's a reason why I don't use terms like fanboy, Xbot, or I don't use terms like Sony Pony
Pony and all that.
You name all of them. Like I can't keep track.
I say stands.
I can't keep track of. There's a reason why I don't do that, right? And the reason why is I want to show gamers respect, right? It starts there, like in my position, and they're not always going to give me respect, but I can take it on the chin. I'm cool. I can do it. I can take it, right? Like it's like getting punched by a vegan, right? It's not going to hurt that much, right?
See, I don't know. There might be some swole vegans out there to come and get you. Though.
But you know what I mean. Like at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt that much, right? Like so you have to be able to take it on the chin, and you have to have a passion or an end goal to make it better for gamers all around, right? And I think the other issue that we deal with though is egos. Like we live in a world where we can socially interact with each other, and people get a little popularity, and you start seeing another side of them.
They lose it.
Well, it's kind of like, you ever know in Hollywood when you see like celebrity children, right? And then as they become adults, they start losing it. You see that scale? It's like that on a slightly micro scale. You're seeing with adults kind of coming. Not everyone's built for popularity, right? Not everyone's built for that sort of thing, and you do have to keep yourself kind of in check. In regards to that. Sorry, my dog is whining at me.
Oh no, you're fine.
So I mean, realistically, don't do that noise. That's creepy, dog.
Oh wow! I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but as far as all that stuff is concerned, I feel like it's a two-way street. In the industry, we have the responsibility to outreach. We have the responsibility to not use those terminologies with dealing with frustration with gamers. And I think we also have the responsibility of how we manage ourselves as far as the games we produce and what we put out there and timeframes we're promised and all that sort of stuff. And if you respect people's time when you do that, and you respect them and not devolve into name calling, eventually they'll show you respect back, right? They may hit you on the chin a couple times, but they're like, you know what? I'm finding less reasons to hate this guy, right? I don't have any other reason, right? And that's why I always kind of like when you see like the drama that's out there, like, well, you have to wait it out, because if you do wait it out, those people don't have as much weight over time. It just takes time for that stuff to kind of come full circle for people to see who and what people are over time. So it just starts. It's up to you guys. What type of relationship you want to have with developers is entirely up to you guys in regards to that. So
yeah, no doubt about it, no doubt, and that's I agree 100%. I just think that it's about respect. I mean, how I look at it is if somebody came to you in your profession and just dog walked you, talked bad about you, just gave you all type, how would that make you feel? Like you would, there's in certain jobs, in most jobs, you got to keep a certain type of professionalism in order for you to keep that job.
You do have to take it on the chin, right? Like you do. Like you work in customer service. Sometimes you're going to deal with people that are unruly, and you got to handle yourself well. And it's a growing thing, in regards to that. You don't have to work there forever, right? You don't have to work there forever, but you do have to take it a little bit on the chin. But there's something interesting when people are like that, and you do treat them with respect. There is a change of heart. And sometimes people act a certain way because they're trying to get attention and trying to get, you know, respect from their peers and stuff along those lines. But if you show them respect and you show them a different way to give respect, sometimes you get a different result out of those people. And so, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm still working on me, right? But I can at least recognize those things, and these are the fundamentals I always go back to when I lose myself a little bit and realize I need to become better in regards to that. So, hopefully Phil keeps doing the fight, but it's not just his name. We need others, not just Phil to say it out there in the industry. So,
yeah, no, I just I totally agree. Like I said, I agree with all of your points. It just bothers me that people just they have that much venom to just type or call or say just the foulest shit just because they know that they can just get away with it.
Well, they get encouraged. They get encouraged by others, right? So it says this negative reinforcement that happens, right? So positive, negative reinforcement is the best way I can describe it, right? It's a negative thing they're throwing out there, but they're getting positively reinforced by others that feel the same way. They get validated. And it's unfortunate, right? Like, that's the thing, though. People have, if you want to become popular on the internet, and be successful, you don't have to be the naysayer, right? You don't have to be that person to become popular. There's just different ways of doing it. And that seems like the easiest way, right? It's the easiest way to get attention right off the bat, right off the rip, right? So.
Yeah, no doubt at all. All right, let's move on from that, and let's talk about okay. I know that you're big on it, and I still am confused about the NTCs or whatever those
NFTs,
things are called. NFTs, whatever.
Yeah.
That shows you how much I care about them. But yeah, no, it's pretty interesting read that Steam has decided to cancel and drop any game that uses this type of format, or like anything that has to do with what is it called?
Blockchain.
Blockchain or cryo currency, all that.
Cryptocurrency. Yeah, gotcha.
I don't even. It's just too much for me to follow.
It's space bucks. It's internet space bucks is what it is, right?
There was Bitcoin. That's the one so now I'm well behind.
So all coin,
cryptocurrency,
so cryptocurrency is an umbrella term, right? So it includes Bitcoin and some of the other ones you hear out there. So if you see other people throwing the random thing, you can ask back, is that cryptocurrency? And if they answer back yes, then you get an idea. It's just a
I had a chance to throw a little money into those Bitcoin in stocks when it first started coming out, and I was like, what? And my friend was like, man, I think I'm going to do it, and we both decided not to. And now we look like fools because
you could be eating like a fat rat right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, yes.
$100 would set you up for, I think, life if you sold your Bitcoin from back then, right when it first came out.
Yeah, I was about to put 500 in, and I was like, I think I'm like, man, I don't know if that's I don't know.
It was a risk. No one knew.
And then now I'm looking at this like, oh shit.
Well, think of all the different type of cryptocurrencies, kind of like looking at the different currencies in the world, right? Like you have the US dollar and then you have the Canadian dollar, right? You have, whatever currencies are in Mexico, like in down south and Central Europe, you got the euro. Yeah. So that's kind of like how you got crypto. Like anyone can create their own blockchain, essentially create their own currency in regards to that, and depend on the popularity and how often they release accessible currency out there, right? Because you can't duplicate it. That's what the blockchain is about. You can't duplicate it. So from a cryptocurrency standpoint, I think it makes sense. Blockchain, like I'm all on board, right? Because you're trying to create value in a currency, essentially, right? It's essential, right? So there's only so many dollars produced in a certain period of time, and when that's done, that adds value to it, right? When someone produces way more dollars, basic economics, obviously there's more to it, right? But they produce way more dollars than in a shorter period of time, it devalues their currency, right? So so from that perspective, it totally makes sense. Blockchain, I get it. But NFTs are just non-fungible tokens. Basically, saying, hey, I can have, there's almost anything can be made into an NFT. Just to be clear, right? Any digital file can be made into an NFT, right? But the easy example is, say, the K-Mega's icon on the stream right now, or the Devin the Gamer logo, right? I can sell that NFT in regards to that, and I only had one, right? There's only one of those NFTs that are out there, and that's what creates the value, right? But my always take is this: I don't produce a product so I limit it to the most elite class of person be able to purchase a product, right? I want to release a product so as many people that are interested can buy the product. That's how I'll make my money, right? And that determines, the reasonable price along those sort of lines. So, to me, NFTs are just an exploit. It's something that's made is a rarity that doesn't need to be a rarity. There's no reason for it. Does that make sense? Like, there's zero reason for it. I mean, you give me that example of someone want to do like an NFT and put their body in the game. Well, why can't I just pay to put my body in the game and not have it be an NFT and other people can purchase that, right? In regards to that. And that's another way you can go about it. And so you don't have to go the NFT to get that special like thing. You pay a premium. You're paying the premium because you're getting yourself in the game, if that makes any sense.
Right, no, it makes sense.
And then the developer reserves a right to be able to sell that skin to other people, right? Or you get a cut of it. You can work something out. You can do something along those lines because you're using your likeness, right? And you can hash them out for that. So I think people that are excited about NFTs and gaming, it's a way to sell digital goods. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's really the only thing that I get out of it from the understanding.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, it's like the same sort of GameStop argument we had, right? Like, people would argue, I want to be able to sell my GameStop disc. I regret every single one of those I've ever done. Right. I wish I had those.
That is very true. Yeah.
Now you're dealing with a digital good of one. How are you going to get that back, right?
Right.
Right. So it's just an exploit, and I just don't think it's necessary for. Currency makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world. When you're talking about this sort of stuff, I don't know. And then in the art world, people don't realize in the art world that's how a lot of money voids a lot of like certain hands of certain governments. You can do that. You can do that with NFTs pretty easily and pretty quick, actually. In regards to that, so you get people caught up in that shit, and they may not have nothing involved. They're like, hey, I just want to sell these kicks on my character, and next thing you know, caught up in some sort of thing they don't even want to be part of. And it doesn't mean like they're gonna get in trouble or anything like that, but it just no one wants to be investigated. No one wants to be looked into, right? Like and guilty by you're not even guilty by proxy. You're being looked to because you just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So so I'm just not a fan of NFTs in general for game goods, and I don't see any reason for it. And I do see a reason for currency. That makes sense to me. People like to make the green argument on that sort of thing, because a lot of NFTs, they run on servers that run constantly, so they run a lot of electricity, so eventually it's going to burn greenhouse gases down the road, sort of arguments. But I think they do exist, but I think those are on a much smaller scale than people may make them out to be. So
yeah, well, I mean, it is pretty interesting that Steam decided to just say, no, we're not dealing with it. I mean, I didn't know about this until I read it, which was basically talking about the Counter-Strike. There was a gambling situation between Counter-Strike Go. Some YouTubers got in trouble from it, but I mean, well, they didn't get too much. They just got a slap on the wrist. A lot of people got upset because a lot of people lost a lot of money behind it, but they did get banned from doing any type of gambling like that for 10 years. And then I'm assuming.
So what was the gambling?
The gambling was with it was in 2016.
Was it matches like win and loss sort of thing? I don't know.
It was basically it was just like a game, like people can gamble on those who would win, who
On
would
those
lose,
matches.
on those matches. And I guess a lot of people put a lot of money into the pot. And so anyway, this went down in 2016. Two YouTubers were really big into it.
So,
and
but it
then
wasn't tied
just,
to Steam in any sort of way, was it?
well, yeah, because they were doing it off of Steam. They were playing off of Steam. So, but Steam, so Steam caught the backlash of it because of the fact that
okay, I see.
you're not
So,
supposed. Yeah.
yeah, I gotcha.
So I think that they're looking at this as like, oh no, this looks like a whole nother Counter-Strike.
Well,
situation.
all sorts of governments are after all this stuff too, right? Like
Yeah,
they all want
so-
a piece of the pie, right? Because we talked about how
Right.
you can evade certain laws
Yeah,
and
that government gonna want that money.
move
They
money
don't want that
around,
green.
right?
Yeah,
And
right.
like next thing you know, you're funding something you don't want to be funding, and you had no idea. So
Right. So yeah, I don't even think that Epic would even try to tie into it at all. So I mean, but and there was only like the games that got shut down. They're games that I definitely wouldn't care about. But it was just a handful. So
they just have to
but,
change their business model, and I think this is also a thing. You're trying to get ahead of it before it gets out of hand,
Gets out of control,
sort of thing. And in regards to it, because what happens, these sort of situations, like I've explained to you what NFT is, and you do understand what an NFT is. So just to be very clear, even though you don't give yourself credit for it, right? But
Okay,
because you don't give yourself credit for, you're the type of person that would be a victim of it. Does that make sense? Right?
Right,
Because you're basically confusing yourself, but you actually understand it. It's just one of a digital file. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Just sell it, and then
and you have the option to resell it or keep it. You can do whatever you want with it, right? And that's all it is. That's nothing. It's nothing crazy. In regards to what's crazy is the technology behind the scenes. That's the blockchain and all that sort of stuff allows there to be something, an author of one thing, like that. But at the end of the day, like you can have an NFT of a GIF, right? Or a GIF, or however you want to call it, right? And you own that NFT of that GIF, but what's the difference between someone right-clicking and hitting save and post it anywhere? Yeah, you don't have the blockchain tied to it, but you can still use it, right? There's nothing stopping you from using it. So, in a game aspect, it does block you off and that sort of thing. So let me let out my dog. He's going crazy right now. Wait just a second, guys.
It's okay. It's all right. So yeah, no, that's a crazy. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about it and me learning more about it, because for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people out there, it's really confusing. So that's why, I wanted to touch on this and get a perspective from Don. All right, so we can just move on to the last point, to the last topic, and that
we have more topics.
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay.
One more. All right, so this is gonna be short because
we're making up for lost time.
We're making up for lost time, and that is gonna and this is it's gonna be funny. Which we're definitely talking about this on GRG Friday, and I'm pretty sure I will be talking about it on next podcast. And that is speaking of people going out of bounds, going full
tilt,
full tilt.
Gotcha.
There was an individual. He's a known troll. I've seen him post some of my stuff before.
I think you were telling me a little bit about this earlier.
Yeah, pro PlayStation guy. And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He didn't particularly like what I was talking about. He wanted to make a couple of comments on it and get his fan base to jump on me or whatever. That's cool. But he took it a little bit too far. He
took it too far because of your tweet?
No, because of somebody else's, because I don't get to see his stuff all the time. I do see it. I see it every day, but not consistently, because there's so much.
So this wasn't a direct interaction with you?
No, this wasn't a direct interaction. This was with somebody else. But what happened was that he, I guess people were not believing that he told them that he was in the medical field or whatever. Because obviously that's how usually those conversations pop up and happen. So anyway, what he did was that he had a video of him in an operating room, and he was he was showing the people operating on a human being. He was sitting right there. He showed the individual that was getting operated on, their spreadsheet, which had all their information, their blood type, their name, all of that. And he showed his name and showed him, and then did a thumbs up talking about PlayStation 5. Then it went off, and it caused a lot of uproar, and rightfully so. Listen, I get it. I understand there were people that tell you some of the most vile, disrespectful things, racial. They talk about my weight. They talk about everything. They talk about my kids, family, whatever. I get it.
The low blows.
Yeah, it's just disgusting, right?
Yeah,
but
I gotcha.
Never once did he come to like, oh yeah, I'll show you that I have a wife. I'll show you I have this. I'll show you that I'm doing this type of job or this type.
If anything, those are the things you protect, right?
Right.
You guard those. Those mean a lot to you, right? Like your job is how you provide for your family. Your wife is, I like to be honest with you. I like to brag about my wife because she's a smoke show. You know what I mean? But like, but the same token, I protect it, right? Like like I care more about protecting that than I care about bragging rights, right?
Bragging rights, right? It's not about I get it, because people will. It doesn't matter because it won't matter. You could have the best of everything, and there's still going to be people that want to lower rate you to make you feel as little and petty as they are.
Yeah, and
that to me is what happened to him. He wanted to let people know that he was in a better position, or that this is, because that's the only way that I can see it. Like, oh, I'll show you that I'm in the medical field. I'll show you that I'm in a better position.
It's like when people flex a bunch of cash, or they,
they'll
have like 5 Rolexes on their forearm, and that sort of thing.
Cool.
I'm all about the low key flex. I don't mind sharing some things I'm into with people, but like it's not that serious. Like
it's not that serious. And so I get it. I mean, I've been caught up in a position, what I'm saying? Like, I remember I did some crazy stuff, and I remember I flexed showed a little cash, and people were like, oh, that's only like $700, and it was more than that.
I've even told you when you're going a little bit to calm down a bit, right? Like, because you don't have to prove anything to these people.
But that was the whole point. Like, I mean, you just ain't going to win with those people, because they're programmed and wired to make sure that you don't do that. And so it is what it is. But this person did this, and he's got a lot of flack from it. He had to make an apology video. And you know what? Hopefully that he just got reprimanded harshly, and and then, but he still kept his job. He took down all of his other stuff, his YouTube channel and his Twitter account and all that other stuff. But how degrading, how silly. Like, I mean, just to get a little clout from a few hundred or thousand, people who don't give two shits about you, to sit there and to put your wife and kids in jeopardy, and yourself, your livelihood in jeopardy.
Well, if you work in the medical field, I'm just assuming here. I'm going to assume the best of somebody like this, right? So if you work in the medical field because you actually give a shit about people,
right?
I'm assuming that's the case. Like you're not just there for the paycheck, even though they pay well, right? You're there because you want to help out. I mean, I haven't met doctors for the most part that don't want to help out people.
Right. I don't think I've ever met one either like that.
Yeah, they want to take care of you. Some have better side of manners than others, obviously in this case, right? But so why risk? That's who you are. Like at its core, that must be more who he is than what console he prefers. It's got to be, because I know he spent more time trying to work in the medical field before than he's put in getting achievements on PlayStation. He's got to, right?
I have to.
Yes. So but this is the conversation we had. Like, not everyone's built for internet popularity, right? Like people get hooked about the likes. Like, okay, I gotta we got a podcast. We want to see it grow, right? But I don't want to see it grow in any way that compromises you or me.
Right.
Right. If it'll grow, it'll grow. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm happy with it, right?
So
but
we'll still talk. Yeah, we'll still do this.
We'll put it out there, and we'll find our audience some way, somehow. And who knows? Is our audience several thousand people? Is it more than that? Is it just 50? I don't know. But it's all about going on the journey for me personally, like that. So you hate to see someone learn a hard lesson like that. It's a bad lesson, right? This is.
But but he's a grown man. Now I can understand he's in his 20s.
I don't see people in their 30s that are grown up anymore, and that's outside of gaming. You know what I mean? So
this dude is definitely in his late 30s.
But you get where I'm going with that, right? Like, yeah, I've seen people in their late 30s and 40s. They're still not adults, and in regards to that, it's like. And that's what these conversations sound like when I look at Twitter. From the outside looking in, it looks like two children bickering. It doesn't look like adults having conversation, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I had to understand because look, there's an adjustment into it. Because as long as I've been doing this,
you've been doing it longer than I have.
I've been doing this and looking at this as a at first, everybody wants to talk trash, and I could do that with the best of them. Let's go, right? And then you're looking at them just like having fun. But then I'm like, whoa, what are these people over here? Why are they taking it so personal? Why are they going after showing pictures of their people's families, talking about people's kids, and whatever the case?
Because they're not your friends. Like that's the harsh reality.
I'm looking at other people doing that to other people.
Yeah.
So then that was the first. Yeah, that was the first. That was the first element of rolling back, and I get what you're saying. So yeah, for sure, these people are looking at it like, oh yeah, we're buddies, so we can sit here and we can kind of talk good shit. But then when somebody doesn't like somebody saying something about a brand of something that's not even human, but then talk about other human beings, or just go and then talk about just that.
Get in the personal business of what they do, what they do with their spare time.
What kind of job? Like one person was getting labeled because this person worked at a fast food restaurant. The person's working, the person's making money, he's doing what he's supposed to be.
He's contributing to society, as far as I'm concerned.
What is that supposed? Why are y'all dogging this man out if he's doing what he's supposed to be doing in life? And some people just can't do other things that other people can do. But that was the first step that made me say, okay, pull back. Let me get out of here on the Facebook groups like this, because this is way too crazy. Let me go to Twitter. Twitter seemed, when I first got into Twitter, it was a lot lighter. I was calmer.
It was more mellow. Yeah,
it was more mellow. I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool here. All right, let's go. And then, of course, eventually that cesspool of what was out, that what came from Facebook coming, and now I'm looking and seeing what Twitter has become. Twitter's my home. I love Twitter, right? But it's my thing. For me, it's like, okay, I touch and go now. Like I'll have a couple of things, we can have a good discussion. We can say a couple of things. Sometimes I'll pop off. Most of the time I don't anymore. It's like, but I will never take it. I will never be personal to somebody to a sense to where I disrespect their livelihood or disrespect them of what they, because that's it. We're talking about video games, and even if we get into a discussion about politics or sports or anything like that, it's all opinionated to a certain degree. I mean, as long as we know what the facts are, then okay, we should both be talking about the facts. But when we're talking about who's got the better console, who's got the better games, that's all opinionated. It's all the eye of the beholder. So it should never get people to get that out of pocket to want to be this way to one another when we're all gamers at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too. I think you create the bubble you want to be a part of, unintentionally or not, right? So you continue to feed the beast by interacting with people that act a certain way, and then other people start following you for that same reason, and the next thing you know, you turn around and go, Twitter, what the hell is it? Right? What is this place I find myself in? Versus like, okay, I won't engage with those people. Oh, this sort of thing keeps coming up again. And then people are like, oh, I won because he blocked me or he muted me. I'm like, no, I just don't want to be involved in those conversations. Like it's nothing against you personally. It's just you have a different interest than me. And I
And
don't.
how did you win? And how
Yeah.
did you win?
Uh,
Because I guarantee you're
Win-win.
going to be one to watch.
There's no winning in any for
Yeah.
either one. Look,
No.
you lost the opportunity to speak with another person because you could not treat the other person with respect or think outside of your own bubble, right? And so that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to interact with that person. So in those situations, like, they're just not worth your time. And so when you start filtering that out, it takes time, but you start getting people that are more positive that are around you, and that takes more time than teasing the people that are negative all the time, right? It takes effort, but social media can be the experience you want to be. You just have to put forth that effort to make it that thing. And I think that's an opinion that I had reflecting on things. Matter of fact, I'm actually my next YouTube video is about this actual subject matter, is social media and gaming in regards to that. So, that this is something I've been thinking about for a while, right? Like, I don't interact all the time. I need to interact more because there's some cool gamers out there. There are really cool gamers out there. I want to meet those people. I want to go and hang out with those people. Those are the people I want to turn on my Xbox Live and may hit me up every once in a while. Like, I don't, and I get people, like, when we're doing the podcast, or, they'd be like, I don't know if I could hit you up. And it's like, no, hit me up. No. Don't say any crazy shit when you hop in the party, right? Right? The rules are pretty simple, like how to interact with people. Don't say racist shit, and don't be offensive right off the bat. Like, it's not that complicated.
It's not that complicated.
And then if you game, you do a couple rounds, you find some common interests there outside of all this console debate stuff that's out there, right? Like, you guys, I mean, gamers have more in common than you think. Like, and I use our friendship as a good example of, like, we couldn't be any more opposites, right?
Right.
But we game, we were like, okay, we both didn't grow up very rich. You know what I mean? We find the commonality. We find we appreciate hard work and what the repercussions of those sort of things in regards to that. So, and even though we come from totally different perspectives, we do believe in respecting other individuals.
Decency, right?
Decency, right? Yeah. And it comes from totally different areas, but that's a commonality we come together on. But if it weren't for gaming, we would have never met one another, right? And so, and that's the power of gaming. I think that's very, very, very important. Bragging rights about what you do for a living. Like, I don't know, man.
Does it?
I don't even like when developers do that stuff. Like, sometimes they'll brag about what studio they work at and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those are accomplishments. So even don't be ashamed of them or anything like that. But, like, you'll see on my Twitter file just another 3D game artist, right? I acknowledge what it is, but it's not a bragging right, because it's just something I worked really hard at in life, and I'm proud of it, of course, right? But it doesn't.
Right, you should be, right?
But it's not something that I don't want my accomplishments to be something I hold over someone else, and that's something I always have to keep in check myself, right? And so just that self-evaluation, you are interacting with more people than usual, and I don't know, this space can be whatever you want it to be, but do you want to be in a thing where you're trying to prove something to somebody you don't even know? That's not your friend. That's not your friend.
I appreciate every follower and sub that I have on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Twitter. And now, since I've started posting stuff on TikTok, I'm saying, I appreciate all of that. Like, I thank these people so much, I'm saying, for them to even have the, to care for anything that I have to say. It's much love. But I won't ever take that for granted. But I'm not gonna. And it's funny because, like, there's people that I don't know if you've had this yet, but I've had a couple of people that'll hit me up, and I'll be in the middle of something, right? And then I can be in that mood, once I'm engaged into something in the game or something, and they're like, oh man, I don't want to be bothered. Who is this? Why? And they hit me up, Meg, I need to talk to you now. Okay. What's up, man? And it can be and they can be talking about some random stuff, whatever. And you know what? But they have sit here and followed me to want to talk about gaming, even though I have no interest in wanting to talk about gaming. I just want to do what I'm doing, whatever.
Yeah, because
But
you've already done your time for the day, right?
I've
Like,
already done my time for the day, right? But the fact of it is that, you know what? You took the time out your day to hit that subscribe button. You took that time out of the day to give me a to give me you know, a hit up or a retweet or
yeah.
you're a member or whatever the case may be. It like that's what's that right there. Like, look, it doesn't matter what the hell I'm doing unless it's something really serious.
Yeah, so it's
But I'm not,
family or
but if
something
I'm
like that.
gaming and I'm just in the moment, that's just an inconvenience. I can always come back. Thanks goodness for the series for the Series X. Now I could just do
It's
the
resume.
what you call it. It's a resume, and I can talk to the person like, hey man, I just want to talk to you for about 5 minutes about something. Okay, cool. It might be an hour because I want to engage with that person and I want to put my time into it. Just like they wanted to hit, they took the time out their day to
Yeah.
say, I wanted to talk to Mega about this. So that's the part about it.
And no,
that
you're pretty good about that. Like, you've been a lot more. And I think I maybe have the stink of working in the industry, so that there's an extra level of intimidation when it comes to that. I really do think there is. It has nothing to do with me in particular, just being associated with certain things.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, like, those moments are special sometimes, right? And sometimes I don't take the time to take advantage of those, and I know I need to get better at that and that sort of thing. But there's always going to be naysayers that say something negative. So you kind of have to approach, if you're going to be interacting on social media, take me for my word or you're not. Like, it's just, I am what I am, and you're going to have to deal with it, right? So, like, so there's always going to be people that are going to be naysayers no matter what you do, what your credentials are, what you do.
Right.
It doesn't matter, right? Focus on the people that do give you the time of day. They do all that sort of stuff, and that bubble will increase in the positive things that you want to talk about in regards to that. So sometimes it's not about the number. Sometimes it's not about the immediate number, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, you're right. And another thing that we both got to do it better, and that's reaching out, because there's times I'll sit there and, like, because everybody now, because it's kind of like it's kind of like school for adults, because everybody has their own, like, little cliques and stuff. Like, like,
it's like the lunchroom, certain tables,
like,
right?
Like, I'll sit there and I'll talk to Attic or whatever, and then, like, Attic and Kids Move, and then, like, King David will pop in or whatever. And
I don't think I've ever hung out. You guys say Kids Move. I think I've been in the party with Kids Move, but I've never
been in a party one time,
and I've never talked to them.
Yeah, right. Y'all didn't because y'all didn't know each other, right?
I don't think we ever interact with one another.
No,
but his name has come up here. He needs an industrial controller, from what I've been told.
Yeah, and so like,
that's all I've been heard about the guy.
Yeah, and then so, like, he's like, hey man, why you don't hit me up or whatever? It's like, you come into the party anytime, and I'm like, yeah man, the same thing, but it's kind of like, who you know. Dealer does the same thing. He's like, hey man, why don't you come in here and say what's up sometimes, and I'm like, and I do want to do that, and then other people have done that. So, like, Fonz, whatever, and I'm like, but I'm so to myself, not only because I'm an only child, but it's just the whole thing of just, like, I don't want to disturb people.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I see them playing games, I see them with their people, and I just kind of stay into my lane. But I got to be better than that. I got to just come in and say, hey, what's up, man? What's going on, Fraud?
Well, it's a hard thing to navigate, because
it's a hard thing to navigate,
because there are some people that are not have the most honest intentions out there, right?
No,
right.
A lot of people,
so that makes you a little bit guarded.
Off like it is.
Yeah,
right.
It makes it a little guarded in regards. I don't want to surround myself with that
That's
sort of thing.
Guarded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, like, it's give and take, though. In regards to that. So, yeah. I mean, I guess my only thing is, it's not worth it. When things along those lines, don't sacrifice your daily life for internet gaming cloud. It's not. No. Your job comes first. Your family comes first. Your health comes first. All that stuff comes way before this stuff. This is just an entertainment. This is what you do for your spare time, right? So
yeah, no, that part is definitely true. So, all right, man, that's it. We are officially done. I could pinch some more stuff out of you if you want me to.
We got to save something for next time.
Well, I mean, we have your dog making other weird noises again. If you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, he was on camera too. So
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what is that? I'm like, is that your wife over here trying to tell you to get off? You know, I
no, no,
think
no,
it's
no, 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 no. But Buddy, out of the three dogs we have, Buddy's the one that's really attached. So like when he's not in the same room as me or someone else, he starts whining and making all
yeah.
those dog noises. So good dog though. Good dog. He's just not the best thing to have when you're doing a podcast. So,
It is what it is. So where can they find you at, Don?
man, the best thing to do is
coming up.
yeah, best thing I'm gonna be on. Probably gonna be on Twitch. Probably the next hour or so. Doing Cyberpunk 2077. I also have a YouTube channel for streaming as well, which is the Don Gaming Live, which is different than my main channel, which is the Don KTR. And they're all kind of related to one another. So two are dedicated streaming channels, whatever platform you guys prefer to do. I'm here to cater to you, not the other way around. And then the other channel is kind of a short form conversation sort of thing, kind of getting used to making YouTube content, getting used to a camera, talking to a camera, doing editing, those sort of things. So I'm relatively new at it, but there's probably going to be another video dropping this month. It's on a month basis that I'm going to be dropping videos, and that seems to be a pace I can keep up with for now. And as I get enough archived, I'll step it up to more videos per month in regards. I want to get to at least two a month would be ideal. So
that'd be good. All right, yeah, that's good. That's progress.
How many
other than just talking about it, but just the project, it's a slow progress.
Man, well, it's like I wanted to do it differently. A lot of people talk behind gameplay, right? Like, and that's fine. I mean, if that's the content you want to make, that's the content you want to make. But I want to make that connection between between gamers and devs, right? So I have to be on camera. At least that's my view on it, and you have to buy the right equipment. You also don't have to go too overboard, just enough, and respect the viewer's time. Do some actual editing along those lines, and I'm learning now how to make my my rants an hour and a half and making them more like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Or right. The talking head sort of videos where it's a 10-minute video, and it's thought out and that sort of thing. So, it's just, I get nervous. I honestly get nervous. I don't get nervous when I stream, but I get nervous when just facing the camera and talking directly to the camera. Just me and the camera, and not be able to feed off of somebody like a podcast, where you have ideas and things triggered and you have a conversation back and forth. I do better with that formatting, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm excited about the process. I don't think I'm great or anything at it or yet. But I'm excited about going through the process and doing it. So
that's what it's all about, is going through the process. But good deal. All right. As for me, I you can catch me on the next podcast tomorrow on Xbox 448 channel.
Yeah.
At 7:00 p.m. the True Lord's time. I believe it's I think it's 6 p.m. Oh no, it's 8 p.m. I think it's 8 p.m. Yeah, the 8 p.m. Eastern. I think that's their time. But yeah, come and check us out on the Xbox 448 channel. Then it's the GRG podcast, which will be on my YouTube channel. KMega405, man, come and check me out on YouTube. Really do appreciate the support. As I suspected, the yo-yo was good. The yo-yo views was going to happen because I got hit with that
copyright.
That copyright, yeah. Thank you, Tax. I appreciate it, brother.
Hey, man. Let's talk about a little bit of Xbox etiquette before we go here.
Yes.
Don't just blare music going into an Xbox Live party. You don't know what's going on.
Oh,
man. You don't know.
He didn't know.
Yeah, I know. I know he didn't mean.
And I didn't even think about muting because he's like, yeah, he said, listen to these speakers and boom, boom, and he was playing the music and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds dope, and yeah, boom, boom, got hit. And sure enough, when you get a strike, I'm not a strike, but a claim, man, it doesn't matter. Your algorithms just go buggy. So it is what it is. I mean, I've had high views, had low views. It's all about just people keep coming, and I do appreciate it, man. Love it. So
I'm not worried about it. I just get tens of views, so I'm solid.
Oh man, it's all good. It's all good. Also, got a new podcast that's going to be dropping in April. Don's going to stay away from that like the plague, but I think that's going to be a fun.
Are you gonna do it on the
thing
same
we're
channel
gonna
or a
do.
different channel?
I'm gonna do it on the same channel. I'm not afraid. I mean, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's like, I understand, you want to do this algorithm. I don't care. I mean, I have a goal, I have a set, but also have a moment to where when I know that I have a moment to know when I'm done with doing this whole content creator thing. I got that. I got this set in my mind when that's going to be done and all this stuff. So this is I appreciate for what I have, and I got the goal. I'm finna hit that goal, and when I do, that's everything else is
What
just
is
great.
your goal?
10,000.
2,000?
10,000. Yeah.
10,000. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The overall goal is 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, 1,000 on Twitch, and try to get to 10,000 on Twitter. I get
Gotcha.
that.
That's doable.
Golden.
That's doable.
Golden.
That's doable.
Golden. Yeah, it's doable. It's not over the top or anything like that. So I'm cool like that. I don't have crazy, expectations of whatever. If I get bigger than that, then God bless.
My goals are a little bit different.
Yeah. What's your goal?
My goal is if it can generate income that I can give back to the community.
To the community?
Yeah, that's so something,
Good.
put good content out there for those who want to donate or subscribe or follow. That's their business, right? But if it generates enough that I can start giving back, and I want to give back to people that are inspiring to develop games. I know what it's like to not having the biggest roadblock being the equipment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I figured I can feed that into content where I can
would be great.
Build PCs for people, drop them off, teach them certain software if they wanted to, make it part of everything else that I'm doing. And I know it will self-feed into it. I don't know what that number is. I have no idea what it would take to get there. But the first step is get to that 1,000 and hopefully get the right audience. So make a positive thing out there. So
that's the one goal, is to get to the 1,000. That's the hardest of the hard. I think. And then
the Limited took him like 2 years or something like that. And he was going at it for a while.
I think about 3 years.
3 years?
So,
yeah. He was working hard. So I know I'm going to have to put some work and effort into it. I don't expect.
Yeah, it's all about effort and time. That's why I want life situations between me is why I kind of don't. I keep saying it, but I'm sure I'm waiting for a couple of things to happen, and then it's like, okay, we can roll. We can completely roll and make it happen. But I always have this setback in my mind that I might have to make different adjustments. But that's why I kind of resist on not just throwing out content like I want to, like when we first got on Mixer, because I was streaming all the time at that point. So
we'll talk a little bit off air. I got something. I don't want to take everyone's time, but we're out here, guys. I'm gonna start hitting the side out buttons. You ready?
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all again here in another 2 weeks. And come and check out the GRG podcast, man. And come and check us on Fight Night.
K-Mega 4.
Yes.
Yeah, that. So that being said, guys, thank you. We're gonna do it more often. This is episode 40. We're gonna hit episode 50 before you guys know it. It's gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna have this on K-Mega's channel as quickly as possible. And then thanks for everyone. If you want to interact live, it's done on Twitch, also on my YouTube live streaming channel. And if you don't catch it live, that's no big deal. K-Mega will have it on his channel before you know it. So.
Oh yes, most likely like tomorrow. All right.
All right. Later.
Peace.